we need to have our own conversation later at some
Ugh.
point.
So just, yeah. Oh my God. I'm okay. I'm just,
You're in a funk.
oh man, I am in a funk. But actually, so Brittany, who's usually on here talking with us, she's particularly fond of the books and everything. She's
Yes.
still at my house
Oh, well,
with
that's
her
fun.
4 children.
Oh,
So
well then.
John is upstairs with my 3 kids and her 4 children, and they're trying to get everything packed up and put into the car. And I'm like, I have to go film. And you should have seen the like on his
Yeah.
face.
He doesn't want to deal with it.
It's like, it's kind of like when you say you're tired and then peace out.
You know, I am also in the doghouse right now with my husband
Oh,
because I may have written 90 pages in an outline for my book this week and ignored everything else going on in my house.
I
And he's
mean,
not happy with me.
that's, yeah, I'm going to say it's reasonable because I'm totally your friend and I want to see where this is going. Um,
But
but
yeah, tomorrow
yeah.
I need to, hi AB, tomorrow I need to clean my house and I need to actually make a pot roast
Oh my God,
and
my
do
house.
some laundry. And if I do those things and he comes home and
It's
it
a
appears
redemption
that
pot
I have
roast.
made some effort, yeah, pretty much. I'm supposed to put the pot roast in for 2 days now, and all I have to do is put it in a crock pot. There's no effort involved. This takes me 5 minutes.
I
I
could
just
do
have
it.
to actually do it in the morning as opposed to completely forgetting about it until 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I've been working and then going over this book, which it's like, okay, so
Guys, this is not a quilting book. I'm
this is
really
not a
sorry.
quilting book. It is not. So Stephanie has had a story circulating, 3 book series circulating in her head for like 20 years, and I'm finally like putting it on paper and doing an outline.
23 years.
A lot of years, a lot of
A
years. And
long
it
time.
it evolves over time, and I totally blew up my plot this week because I decided I liked my little evil prince and I wanted him to have a redemption arc. And anyway, it's that I literally was sitting down here and I was like, you know what? There's not enough character growth for my main male character. Like, I need to have him have some character growth, but I'll figure that part out later. But you know, when you're reading a romantasy book and you're like building up to the point where you're going to get your first really good spice scene.
And it takes
eh,
forever.
Well, it takes forever, but it's like you just can't stop because you know it's coming. You know it's going to get there and it's going to be really satisfying when you hit to that point. It's the same way when you're putting it on paper.
That's true. And
It
you
is
are,
the
you
exact
are,
same way.
you're like the way when I'm in a project and I'm feeling it and I know where it's
Yeah,
going, like it fuels you. And this is
it
fueling you right now.
very much fueling me. And it is causing tensions at home because Stephanie is sitting in bed with her computer writing things. Like I literally, so like I was writing a scene where like she's like really upset and she's like woken up from this dream and is really upset and he's there. And so I was trying to think, okay, well how she's got to cling to him. So how am I going to write like how are the arms going around? Like where's
Right.
the hand placement
We don't
when
want the
you're
impossible situations that are
yeah,
often
where's
written in the books where it's
well,
like
and this
one
is
leg is
just
behind the sofa and the other is out in the
well, no.
stable.
It's
That's a
none of that.
different part of the story.
She's
But
just upset and like really upset. And he, is coming in to comfort her. And she just wraps her arms around his chest and is just like curled up against him, basically. This is what I want to write. And there's nothing spicy happening in this scene. Like there's going to be
it's just a
zero
hug.
spice. This is just like terrified. I need to hug you. I need like comfort. And I'm like, will you just sit here so I can like, and he's like, no, I'm mad at you. And like walks out of the room. He's like, I'm like, it's not one of those things. He's like, no. I'm like,
No.
okay, fine. So I need to make up
It was a few
for
days ago.
I need to make up for my bad behavior last week and be good tomorrow.
Well, I mean, it was not even maybe a week ago that he's like, this is why I love you, as you were pouring over an outline that wasn't much different than this one.
No, it wasn't. But my brain has just gone very hyper focused on this
I
situation.
feel that. Except I
but
don't feel that right now.
you
You're on
don't.
this
You're
like
trying to work on it.
beautiful, hyper focused arc of like creating. And
Yes.
I'm like, just not. I can literally hear the chaos going on upstairs, guys. Feel a
You'll
little
get back
guilty.
to it though. There will be a moment where you're back to it.
Oh yeah, I know, but this is why I love like a quilt test or something like that. I have something given to me where it's like create the best thing you can create out of this pattern.
Yeah.
Or I'm given, a fat quarter
Is that
bundle
why you
and I'm
wanted
like,
my unpublished pattern today?
yes, I need
Yeah.
something to do that isn't this cat pattern that I'm supposed to be making for Hazel, the cats in pajamas one.
Yeah.
It's down here somewhere. I'm just like, I'm stressed by that. And I still have a quilt that I'm supposed to be finishing for a charity thing that I don't know how to finish because the binding is weird. And I think that thing is giving me a lot of stress because it's the one where she wanted the binding to come from the
The
front to
back.
the
Oh,
back.
the back. Yeah. I remember you telling me about that one.
And I have a number of pictures now of how it works. And I don't want to mess up her mother's quilt, you know?
Could you do like a test sandwich with something else? Like just
Well,
like a little
yes,
mug rug
that's actually not a bad idea. I should probably do something like that so that I
placemat or
get a better
something?
idea of what I'm doing. Um,
I feel like
yeah.
that's the way to do it because then you're not like going for it on the thing that's irreplaceable.
But like ADHD me is like, there are no rough drafts. There are only final drafts.
I am very much feeling that right now as I go through stuff. I'm like, I don't need to have every single piece of dialogue in this right now. But like, it feels to me like sometimes like I need to, I don't know. This is why I have 90 pages on an outline and I'm not
90
even,
pages on an outline. I mean,
I've maybe made it through like 2/3 of the plot. And I already know that when I actually sit down to write this, Chantal, that I am not going to enjoy writing book one because I so love the story of book two better. Like, I'm
that's
already
how
setting
it
myself
should
up
be,
for
though.
failure. Already setting myself up for failure here.
I
Ah,
mean, if you've done a good job, writing book one is literally a preface
yeah,
to what book two is. It
yeah,
always is. And so if you wrote book one and then you came up with book two later, it would never fully like nest.
true. And I have been going back and like changing stuff to make it fit better and like set it up a little better.
This is Stephanie's new adventure right
It
here.
is
She's all
Stephanie's new
in on it.
adventure. Stephanie's really random brain is at work at this point.
I mean, I was like, does she have a quirky sidekick? Does she need a quirky sidekick friend? I could be the quirky sidekick friend in the book.
So
Unfortunately,
far,
she has no
my
quirky sidekick friend.
my closest thought is at one point I was considering having this other woman like show up and just be like kind of a tag along, but I don't think I'm
I mean,
gonna
I
have
can
her
be a
be in
court
there.
jester. I could be anything.
This is a
Bring me
foul
in.
this character is a foul-mouthed warrior who also is like the heir to her father's throne and there are no sons. And so she is
She's tough. She is
yeah,
not like
but
me and my girlfriend.
she's very broken in the second book because of the stuff that happened in the first book.
This is
And so
like all thought out. So this,
she's fixing herself and once she fixes herself, then she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I've kind of just gotten to the point where she's like she's fixed herself.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like, I can't stitch anything. Like, I'm not even at my machine. I haven't sewn on my machines
It's
in
all good.
weeks.
So Chantel and I, we have usually a pre-show chat where we get out all of this business and then we decide
Yes.
what are we actually going to talk about. We didn't do that because I've also ignored Chantel this week when I've been writing this book.
I called. I
You
actually
did. We
called at one
talked.
point. I was like, I need
You
human
need adult.
adult contact. She's
Uh,
like, well, my kids are in the car. I was like, mine too.
I feel like any adult conversation I have when I'm in the car, I'm like, I'm in the car and the children are here because then you immediately know what you can and cannot say.
Oh, I say that
Immediately.
I say that you're on candid camera. It's
Yeah.
like that, old show like you're on candid camera because clearly you are not the only one hearing this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you swear or something or you drop an Easter egg in a place that you're not supposed to that the kids aren't supposed to know about, um they just heard it all.
Oh, yeah.
Hello,
I know.
everyone. It's our regulars over here
It
saying
is.
hi.
Hi, Anna. Hi, Melania. We're,
We are us.
I don't know. I'm just not with it this week. Nothing exists for me outside of my own little fantasy world that I'm creating because I like it
Ugh,
better there. I
isn't it
just
so
do.
much more fun there?
It is.
I'm
And she
having
has
fun going
she
there.
has problems. She has huge problems, but they're not my problems. And
They're
so,
solvable problems
yes, they are. And she has magic, so she'll be able to fix this shit. It's good.
and all good.
Yes.
Where's your high noon? I feel like
I
the
still haven't
funniest
bought
thing
the
the
high
other day
noons.
is when you had that high noon and it was like three
The
times bigger
giant
than
high
mine.
noon. I know. No, I need to go get more high noons. I haven't been in the grocery store yet. And my
You're like,
husband is too mad at me to go buy me high noons. So
whoopsie.
I messed up.
Whoopsie.
I'm in trouble. Stephanie's
That's
in the
okay. We're
doghouse.
all in trouble every once in a while. Just us more likely on Friday is
I know, right?
I
I
mean, I'm
literally,
clearly in trouble. I told John I was sorry multiple times and he's like, "You're not." I'm like, "I am." He's like, "You're not." I'm like, "But I
uh,
am." He's like,
you
"But
and
you're not."
I both need to have our own redemption arc tomorrow in the eyes of our
Can we
husband.
outline that?
I
Is
think
it
we should. What should we do for our redemption arc tomorrow? I'm thinking I need to clean something and definitely make this pot roast.
I
I
can't
have to do
cook,
that.
so maybe
Well,
not cooking.
you can crock pot it though. Literally, I'm just
You
throwing
know what
things
though?
in.
That might hurt John's feelings because of his whole like
His
meat.
whole meat obsession.
Yeah. So
For those of you who don't know, Chantel's husband's midlife crisis hobby is grilling various meats, and he does a very good job of
oh,
it.
it's so good. He reheated some brisket tonight that we had with like breakfast for dinner. And oh my gosh, so good. And we had bacon and everything. And he's like, I should go and do this on the grill. And we kind of encouraged it, but he decided to not do it on the grill. And
AB says, "Do I know who will play your characters in the movies?"
ooh,
No, I don't. So, like when
we're
I
not even sure
envision,
everybody's not named yet.
there are a lot of names now.
There are names, yes,
There
this
are
is
a lot of
true.
names. The
We
country is not
promised
named. The province is not named. Nobody has a last name, but there are some names.
you
You,
promised me that you would come and help me with my basement in exchange for drinking and names for books.
there are still names that need to happen. So this is still,
I'm
we
going to
still
be
have to
named,
name,
a court
we have to
jester
name a
is going to be named
country.
after me. Oh,
We
a
have to name a
country.
whole country, all the provinces. No one has last names. It's still plenty of time.
There's
Don't worry.
the capital needs named.
I just couldn't like keep like saying somebody's brother, like he needed a name.
I know
So
it was
there
getting confusing for me. Like
it was
you'd
very
call me and
confusing.
you'd be like, and the older one and the younger one.
Now
And
they both have
finally, I'm like,
names.
give me some details into who would they be in our sorority and fraternities? Like, I need to
So
know who these people are, dating profiles. Like, who are
this
these
is
people?
this is basically the description of the female because she's like a warrior. She can kick ass. And I while I enjoy a nice 5 foot something female main character who ends up saving the day, it's just not very realistic. I know what size I am. I know I'm not going to be able to take down a six
I'm not
four
saving the day. I'm writing a
dude.
book.
It's not going to happen. So she's going to be 5'10" and she's going to be very leanly muscled. She's going to be like a Gal Gadot type situation, like capable of playing Wonder Woman because she is. And we're gonna forget the whole I'm so dainty little thing. No, she's someone
She's
to be
tough.
intimidated by. And
Ooh, who do you guys
everybody
think
knows
that
it.
would be?
Yeah, but she's 21 and 22 in the books. So she's young. So it's got to be somebody young who could do that.
Oof.
but
Somebody who has not been found yet. But
probably.
still, you can always say a young so and so,
Yeah,
you know.
something like that.
I could see a young Jessica Alba maybe.
No, more muscled,
More?
more like swimmer shoulders muscled because she
Although
can
she
fight with a
was like
sword.
in I'm trying to think what movie she was in that it was like, I mean, she was buff.
Was she?
Yeah. No, not Alba. I'm thinking Beale.
Beal. Yeah, even so. Like, I don't want anybody who looks skinny.
Just
Like, honestly, let me see if I can find it.
like a
There is
warrior.
there is a someone here it is. She knows fitness. Let me see if I can find the right one. I see her stuff on my Instagram all the time. Let me see if I can find her on
What is
here.
everybody sewing while they're listening to us
Yes.
banter about books? About Stephanie's book. You never know. This might be
Who
your
knows?
next
This
big
might be a
read.
thing. Okay. So, trying to find where is she at?
We've decided our lives are exhausting and we want to explore other
We just
worlds.
Yeah, we just want to be somewhere else. Okay, let me find a good one.
It's a good place to be elsewhere.
Okay, so I'm just gonna hold this up so you can see. This is a fitness influencer I follow, and basically she shows you how to like isolate your muscle groups to create an hourglass figure as a female through weightlifting. And so this is something I aspire to. I'm down almost 30 pounds now, very exciting. But I watch her, and when I see her and her body and the defined muscles, this is what I envision when I think of
This
my
is like
female
what you
main
want.
character. Yes, this is like if she
If
can
you,
play, this woman here would be able to play her,
all
is what
right.
I'm thinking. Okay. So this is She Knows Fitness. So we've got her, and look at those damn back muscles. Like it
Oh,
is
yeah.
like everything is defined, looks fabulous. Like this is what I envision. Is
Yeah.
somebody who like looks like they can kick your ass, but is also
That would be
gorgeous.
appropriate
Yeah.
for her.
Yes. That's my thought of her.
Excuse me.
Which is something I have never looked like I could kick anybody's butt ever in my entire life.
No, I'm like the scrappy Chihuahua person.
Yes.
Like the yee.
Yeah.
I'll talk, no muscle, unfortunately.
But yes, Chantal sent me a very funny passage this week, though. She's like, here's inspiration for your book. And it was like this. It was like an abstinence text on how to
it was
turn somebody
so
down.
it was
It was so
so badly
unrealistic.
written. I'm like,
It was
this is
so
what not to
unrealistic.
do, or you could write this in. It's up to
It would
you.
it would just like even for what it was, like it's basically how to turn somebody down. And even for that, like it was just
It was
so
so
formal.
bad.
Nobody would ever speak this way. It's like, no, you just say no, I'm not interested. Like that's all you have to do. It's just like,
I am not
oh my goodness.
interested in. Oh my gosh, it was so bad.
It was so bad.
But it
It
was
was
really
nobody,
funny. And
nobody
we've gone
speaks
back to
like
that
this.
over and over this week,
Yes,
even though
but
we've barely gotten to talk.
it's all good. We have done a lot of memes this week, I feel like, though.
I think so.
A lot of memes.
I have found you know, it hasn't felt like you were flooding me. It felt more like an equal flood.
It's because I wrote 90 pages single space this week,
It's
Chantal.
because I didn't do anything but play on the internet.
Yeah.
That's not true. I finished my book.
I literally wrote 35,000 words this week. But yes, you finished your book and you
I
started
did
another
finish the
one.
book. So last week we ended a little early so that I would have time to finish. I did manage to get to where I needed to be in there. And then I listened to more and I listened to more and I read more and I finally finished the book. And the
It's good.
funny thing is that when I sat it down, because sometimes I just sit things down for a couple days, even though it could be a great part. I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow, this is not an appropriate place to stop, but I'm going to stop. And I will forget how interesting it was or how
Yeah.
important it was. So I picked it back up and then it was like plot change
Yeah.
after twist after all of these very important things like all happen like da 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 da. I don't know how
Hmm.
she managed to actually fit that much in that little. I was very appreciative that she fit it in that little amount of time
Yeah.
because my attention span is not this, it is this. But it was really good.
Yeah. Now, I know you thought you were going to move on to something else after this, but you immediately started the next book.
I immediately moved on to the next one, but
We're
I'm
talking about
also
A Court of Mist
immediately
and
backing out of
Fury.
that one because I'm
Uh,
bored already.
yeah, I feel like so we're talking about the Akatar series right now. So,
I'm on to book 3 and
yeah.
I've gotten to I'm just bored already.
So, I feel like
I'm
once you
used to
have your
the
moment with
300
your
page book.
character, once you get your moment with your character, I feel like it's hard to stay invested sometimes. Like
I,
once you feel like they're
I
okay, they're going to be all right.
yeah, I'm very most of the books I read are the 300, 400 page books.
Hmm.
You move on a lot quicker, although there's not the same amount of depth, right? So even
Yeah.
if there's multiple books, you come to a conclusion a lot faster. So this is taking more time.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that it's taking me time to have the energy to put into it.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
AB says she's not sewing right now. Remnant carpet in the basement.
We
Ooh,
are still working on that.
that's awesome.
Ooh, design wall, insulation board sound
Ooh,
fun. I was gonna do that last year and then I totally abandoned that plan. Like I have all the stuff I need for it.
I have a design wall. I don't
Literally
use it
everything.
as a design wall. It's more of like my permanent gallery.
I've seen it. Uh,
It's lovely. I put it up myself. It was a DIY project.
we need to see
Um,
now. Oh yes. I've seen that one.
and I did all the felt tiles and everything myself, which is, you know, pretty
It
cool and
looks good.
everything. But it has become a permanent fixture up there,
It looks
especially
good
with
though.
all of that EPP that I'm trying to like put together. And,
You
my
have done
American
so
Girl stuff.
much of that.
That
That
is
is
like
so
three
much.
months. Can you
That's
believe that?
only 3 months worth
That
of
is only
block of the month.
3 months.
Oh my
That
goodness.
doesn't even have some of the part that's down here. That is how stitch heavy that project is.
That is a lot.
It is overwhelming.
I
It
feel
doesn't
like you
matter
need to find yourself
away
a
from that project.
quick, one and done situation. Like I
You
can come down
know,
here and get it done in an afternoon.
my brother-in-law sent me an ad on Marketplace. And he's like, I don't know if you'll be interested in this, but this person's getting rid of all this stuff for free. So I looked at it and it was all patterns and fabric and all this stuff. So I went over there. It's hard to get me out of the house, but free patterns, I can't leave the house for that.
You can do
And
that.
therefore I did. And tons of kids' patterns for like clothes
Hmm.
and really cute stuff. So I might try some garment sewing a little bit. Plus, I
That could
have
be
this
fun.
thing I'm going to this summer called Frock Tales. I don't remember if I brought it up. I think I did.
You have not. Because I have never heard you talk about this.
Okay, so Frock Tales is this event that it's like a cocktail party, but you make your own outfit for it.
Ooh,
Yeah, and so
that sounds
I'm
fun.
I'm going with a friend that I made through QuiltCon, and she's fantastic. And she lives in Champaign, it turns out. We just randomly met, and it turns out she doesn't live that far away from me. Um, and so she makes a lot of her clothes and garments and things like that. So I'm gonna go with her. Look at me
I,
all
I
being,
can I can hear your children
I
upstairs.
know they're all like,
It's like elephants. Oh,
they're all like wandering across the kitchen. Which is right above me, which is why this room was a terrible theater room, by the way. You can't have a theater room that is not snack adjacent. All right. But so apparently I'm going to be making myself a dress or a suit or a
something.
something other than a paper bag that I'm supposed to wear. It might be a paper bag. It might be an Allison Glass paper bag. Um,
You
based
can
on
do
how
it.
who knows? Apparently I'm making clothes that aren't
You
for
can do it.
dolls.
I do not want to make myself anything until I get to a size that I would like to stay at.
That's what the fun thing about this Rock Tales thing is, though. It's like downtown Chicago. Um, It's like a whole night party. My kids are not doing well on their bedtime.
We both need redemption arcs tomorrow. It has to happen.
Oh my God.
Let's see. AB says her declutter's almost done and the house is
Oh,
easier to keep clean with crap gone. You know, would you like to come to my house? Because I'm
yeah.
too attached to my things. I just need someone else to
No,
throw
I'm
shit away
next.
for me. Joan is on backings for quilt tops. She's got 12 done and 8 more tops and a tote that need backings. That's pretty good.
Oh man.
And Jam says sounds fun making a cocktail dress.
I did pick up some patterns when
Yeah,
before Joann's went to liquidation, and liquidation doesn't understand how much a pattern is supposed to cost because all those patterns are technically marked like 18, $21 or whatever.
hmm
Well, we all know we wait till every other Saturday and get them for $2 or whatever, right?
yeah.
So before they went into full liquidation, they had all the patterns marked down to $2. And I had bought a few, and then I went back to buy more, and they were only 15% off of the original price, which is not what,
Enough. Yeah.
no, not at all. I ended up buying one because I had Hazel with me and I felt really bad. I should probably make that project too. It's not that I don't have projects to do, it's that I don't want to do them.
I bought last year for Easter everything I needed to make matching dresses for the girls for Easter. Have
Mm-hmm.
I even started that for this Easter? No. Is it going
No,
to
but your
happen?
Christmas
Also,
quilt
no.
looks great.
It is
I'm not
looking,
even sewing. I'm
there's
just sitting
project.
here.
I'm not either. I'm just pinning things. I don't know that I'll actually sew it tonight. I'm prepping it
I don't even know how to sew
so that at
anymore.
some point I can do it. You need to though. Like it's very tied to your mental health, Chantal. You got to make some
No,
time to
no,
sew.
no. It is more so than I think I realized. It is so critical for me to be sewing and creating, and I need to get away from my hand piecing because it's like a
Is it
crutch for me.
is it like I don't know. You just don't get the same warm and fuzzy feeling as you
No,
do with
I
a
just
sewing
need to
machine.
actually finish something. And it's
Oh,
really hard to
yeah.
finish anything when you're doing everything by hand.
You need the dopamine hit.
I need the dopamine hit so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I was like, send
You
me that
know,
pattern you're
if
never
you
going to
do,
publish.
I mean, in theory, someday I'll publish it. It's like it's ready. It's ready to
It's
go, Chantel.
adorable. It's cool.
I literally have everything over here to film the video tutorial. It is set. Everything is ready.
Do you
Have
have
I
a
done it?
90-page
No.
outline for how you're going to film it?
It's not as fun, Chantal.
I
It just isn't
know.
as fun. This is why, like I told my Adam, I was like, look, I found a passion again. Like, isn't that something you're excited about? That I found a passion again? And he's like,
Like,
I just
so bad.
I just want some help around the house. And I'm like, fine.
Fine. But
That's
you're going to have
fair.
to work around my passion.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
I finished my drink and I didn't bring extras because I was trying so hard to get down here on time.
It's all good. It's not like I was on time, so it's fine.
It's all good. I do need to figure out something to do. I guess I'll just do hexies. I did start doing hexies again
hmm
just to not have to deal with um so I'm doing all these 10 pointed stars, and you
hmm
can imagine it's a lot of little tails
Yeah,
everywhere,
that's annoying.
and you just get caught on them, and you can't, that rhythm doesn't land the right way when you're constantly getting caught on tails.
That makes sense.
And so I'm not a big fan of some of the pieces that I'm having to stitch together right now. Like I actually have it all here from like last week. I haven't even touched it. Oh, I just threw it on the ground. But I'm doing these pieces right now that, I mean, you can see what kind of angle they are. And then they have all these little tails everywhere.
Yeah,
And it looks really cool when it's
it
all
does
put
look amazing.
together, you know. But I have to admit, as much as my strong suit is being able to fussy cut things, fussy cutting everything does not give me joy. It's annoying because I've spent so much time cutting things and pasting things then I'm not spending any time actually sewing things. But it's part of the quilt kit, and
It is part of the process.
it is part of the process. So I've gone back to doing hexies, and just to have something else to do that isn't fussy cut. So here's my completion for the week.
There you go. There's your dopamine hit.
There it is. It's still cute. It's none of it's fussy cut, but it's all, I got my teal flower.
You got the right colors.
Yeah. Throw it in my bin over here because it goes with all the others that have just live. Got a never ending pile of hexy flowers here.
I also have that, so I get it.
And I have a half of one here I guess I can work on.
All right, Chantal, we're starting with therapy now. I stumbled upon your channel at the video where we talked about the pledging to sorority.
That was a mess.
Did some dumb things together when we were in our 20s.
Oh my gosh.
We still do some dumb things together.
Stephanie's all this famous person. I'm like, I was the person that was 2 people in front of her in her sorority. Like,
she was the one who taught me that if you take plain ramen and put it in a baggie and then add the seasoning and crush it all up, it's a pretty good snack. That's what Chantal taught me.
I have a few cooking tips if anybody needs them.
That's a good one.
It's so random.
But
oh my god. I can't even.
All right, let's have therapy, Chantal.
Let's do therapy.
What do you need from your quilting project in order to give you the dopamine you require to function in the rest of your life? Because I feel like a lot of us come to this for that, right?
Right.
We're having therapy for everyone. It's group therapy today. What is it that gives you the dopamine you need to function in the rest of your life
what I think?
From your chosen hobby?
I am suffering because my long arm is broken.
When is that supposed to happen?
May 12th. I literally have a Post-it on there.
You're very close. You can do
close.
This.
It's the day after Mother's Day, though.
Oh, so you could have had it all Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
Yeah. I just figured that out like a week ago. So I've been mourning that. So I have all these quilts that I am dying to quilt because it's so cathartic.
You really let loose and you just let your mind
it does something for me. It's like the people that run and get into their rhythm. Like I could stand there for hours and not even realize that it has been hours. But my machine's been down for almost 6 months.
Yeah, that would be hard.
By the time that is done. So what I really need in a project is something that can be completed without having to be quilted. So not a quilt.
So not the pattern I sent you. That would not do it.
Although by the time I finish
Could you do something small?
I mean, I have my mid-arm, but that gets exhausting. Like I love doing
like a
little work,
table runner work. Or a placemat or something.
Oh, the problem is I did all these placemats. I hear screaming children. I did all these placemats, and you know what they do? They sit underneath my counter. I don't use them.
True. We don't really use ours either. Or we do, and then they like never get washed and they just always have the stains.
Yeah. I need, guys, what would you do? I need a non-quilting sewing project. I like doing bags and all of that stuff. I do have some bags to do, but it almost needs to have the urgency of like, oh, somebody needs this or somebody wants this. The problem is when it's my need or want, it never seems great enough, right?
Yeah. This is life in motherhood. This is like me making time to go to the gym. Like, I had to prioritize it and say no to things around the house that I'm not going to do that because I'm going to go take this time for me. And it has been one of the best decisions I've made to do that. like I actually fit into clothes today that I couldn't close a couple months ago. And
Yeah,
it's
and
very
you look
exciting.
awesome.
Yes, I
I
look
got
better
that
in the
picture.
clothes today than when I purchased them originally after the cruise.
It was good.
So it's like I was very proud of myself there.
I gotta put these on. I might
Let's
have to
see.
go.
They're wondering what pledging was like in our era. Do we have lineups where we had to memorize? I mean, what happens
Oh
in pledging
yes.
stays in pledging, but
But oh yes.
yes.
We
And it's that. So Chantal memorized everything. You probably still have many things memorized.
the
I
history of the Chi Omega Gamma sorority pledge period is yes. It's all there.
I worked probably 30 hours a
I'm
week at the
slipping
student
out for a second.
newspaper.
I'll be right back, but I'm here.
I had a full class load. I
You were a year older.
I was a year
So you were
older.
already like deeper
I
into
was
your
I was
studies.
deeper into everything. And I obviously partook in all of the pledging activities, which was a lot of hours and brain cells lost. And so I just decided I'm gonna do my best, but I'm just gonna take the punishment if I don't know anything. And I
She
won't
really
say
did
what
take that seriously.
I won't say what the punishment was, but I will tell you that my legs looked really good in a mini skirt
Oh,
at the end of pledging. Really, really good.
to be
Uh,
fair, mine looked really good, and I actually memorized a lot of that information. And the thing is that I can still spit that information out. Like, I still remember the purpose.
I
Like,
don't remember any of that. I have my book. I still have my book. It's over in the
me
basement over
too.
here. I have all my stuff.
It's gonna go up in our old
Oh
age
my
home one
gosh.
day, our
Okay,
retirement center.
so one time, my junior year, so I pledged my sophomore year because I was no fun my freshman year, like
And
none
I
whatsoever.
pledged freshman
Yes.
year.
So we were in the same pledge class, but we're a year apart. And so my junior year, my mom's helping me unpack, and we had these outfits that we had to wear for Hell Week, which were completely ridiculous and included men's underpants that were like colored over with
Oh
all this
yeah, I still
filthy
have
stuff,
those.
like filthy, filthy things were written all over these underpants. And my mom comes
Like
across these.
tidy whitey underpants.
She came across them and it was just like, Stephanie, what on earth is this? And I remember her looking at some of my stuff and going, you have a boyfriend this year. You maybe shouldn't be wearing some of these things. And I'm just like, whatever, mom.
Well,
Uh,
mom, I'll take that advice. Sure. I won't wear these in front of my boyfriend.
I had a whole drawer full of stuff that could be combined for any theme of any party.
You
Corset,
remember we had a
that works
party
for
once?
pirate. That works for pirates. That works for many, many
So
things.
many
Like,
things. We had a party once. The weirdest theme party that I ever went to was called Hunters and Fuzzy Critters.
I
Do
don't
you
think
remember?
I don't think I went to that one. That
Oh
may have
my
been was after
gosh.
my time,
So you were either supposed to be a hunter or a
obviously.
fuzzy critter of some. And so you can imagine there were reindeer, there were bunny rabbits, there were cats, there are hunters, there were people in camo, there were people in orange, there were just everything. Like
I'm
any
sure.
animal that you can think of that came in some sort of costume, like a gorilla or whatever. There were poachers. It was the most ridiculous theme.
Yes. We always had this,
But it was
like I could turn
hunters and fuzzy
anything.
critters.
Like I would just raid Party City at Halloween because I remember I had this cat mask that had things that went up and then like a mask that went over it that I would pull out for,
You
whatever,
never knew when you needed that.
whatever. And then I had this like fringe top that also worked for like everything. And
I had a nurse's
I had a
costume.
pirate bandana, like an actual pirate hat
Oh,
bandana
yes, I had
that
a
I would just
paper
have.
pirate hat.
Yep. And
I had,
this just all lived in a drawer because they would be
yeah,
like,
the
today we're
costume
doing
drawer.
80s, today we're doing pirate, today we're doing,
Just needed
and
to
you
be
just had to
ready.
come up with it. And you couldn't like just go to the store because you had no money. You had to have it
No,
already
you
and be
you
able to
would
make
go
it
to the
work.
Goodwill or the
Yeah.
Salvation Army down the road and hope that you got there before everybody else.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, I also had one of those drawers,
Yep.
and I still have a hard time getting rid of costumes because you just never know.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
it's not going to help me.
So
I could
I
probably
sent
make a whole memory quilt of just costumes.
I sent Chantel an inspiration photo for my weight loss, and I had to save it from a private album on my Facebook. And it was taken on a Halloween before I had children. I was an adult, I was married, but I may have been wearing a child-sized witch costume as an adult. We're
We
just
are
going to leave it at
short,
that.
to
We're
be
short
fair.
people. We're short people. But anyway, it was rather tight, but I was very fit at the time. And so I sent this to her. I was like, this is what I'm trying to get back to. My child loves nothing more than to scroll through the phone, my
Oh yeah, mine
5-year-old,
too.
like for hours, like as many pictures as she could see. So she finds this. She goes, Mom, you look so silly. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe you saw this picture.
Oh no.
She's like, what are you wearing? And I'm like, it's just a costume, little
It's just a
it's
shirt
a
I
costume.
had.
Oh my goodness. But let me tell you, if I could fit back in that sucker again, I would wear it because I would be so proud of the work I did to make that happen. I'd be like, everybody look,
Oh,
everybody look. I
my work is going to have to be like literally physically done to me because I have a shelf in the front now that I didn't have. I like to call it my butt from the front. Um,
Why do our
thank you.
children do this to us?
I know, three children, and this is what I get. I love my children, but the butt from the front needs to go.
I'm getting plastic surgery views on my
It's probably
feed now
from
too.
me.
I think it's because I see a lot of videos of people who have lost a lot of weight and they have loose skin. And I think my fitness pal has told the internet how much I've lost.
Like you need to be like
So they're like, loose skin, we can take care of that. And I'm like, we're not that far yet. I haven't lost that much. Like,
we're not at the yet.
we're not at the bat wing stage. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
Oh my
Life
gosh.
after middle age, I'm gonna tell you.
I know. And at a certain point, it's like, is it even worth it?
Yes, it's worth it.
But, uh,
When I put on that outfit today and everything fit and looked great, and I didn't have to even wear Spanx underneath it in order to get the damn thing buttoned, I was like,
oh,
damn.
it's so worth it.
Like, I've done
Done.
it. This is awesome. I
Sold.
need to get to the gym more and just keep going.
Sold
So
forever. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, I don't know. The gym, it's such a negative place for me.
I literally, so I walk mostly, but I'll do lifting. I enjoy lifting, especially if I've had a really bad day.
And
Like to just
she's been doing a lot of lifting. It's good
so
for
to
you.
go and like lift really heavy stuff after I've had a bad day, it's like very like it gives me the
Yeah.
dopamine that you are currently seeking.
Yeah, no, no,
And
no. That whole exercise as a way of making yourself feel better just sounds
yeah,
terrible.
but then
Sorry.
I go walk and I either listen to Taylor Swift Reputation as loud as possible or this huge workout mix that I have that's a mix of stuff from like when we got out of college to now, or I'm listening to filthy, spicy stuff while trying to keep a straight face in front of other people in the gym.
You're like,
And
what?
it's just my me time. Like I get an hour on the treadmill where I get to listen to whatever I want and nobody's complaining that we're tired of hearing Taylor Swift Reputation when I just love the entire vibe of that album. But my 11-year-old has
And
heard
that
it
was
so many
not
times now that she's just like, I can't listen to it. And the second one comes on, she's in a bad mood for the rest of the car ride. This is my
Reputation
life right
was
now.
not the most like well received album, but the people that love it.
I may have spent an entire afternoon at Starbucks this week playing that on repeat, writing my outline because I feel like this is the vibe for that character.
You know, during COVID, I listened to Lizzo's like album
I love all Lizzo too.
every single day. Like that is what actually got me through. I was pretty sure I was like not going to make it. I made it because of Lizzo.
Yep.
My little
I have a
Hazel at
friend.
the time would go
I have two
kitty cat
friends.
purr.
I have two friends who made it through their divorces because of Lizzo.
I hope
So
I don't make
Lizzo
it through
has
my
that effect.
divorce because of
Don't do
Lizzo.
that. Don't do that. We're both going to have a good character arc redemption story tomorrow. We're going to save our marriages. It'll be okay.
If it's a divorce, it's because they're really, really upset. Jan says exercising does sound terrible. See, I couldn't agree more. I just hate exercise. I mean,
I don't know.
that's not true. I love to roller skate. But
Is
when
there
do I
somewhere
get to
near you where
roller
you could
skate?
go do that? You
There
can be
is
like,
one
John,
small
you
rink.
have the kids. I'll see you later in a couple hours.
It is there is one small rink and I haven't been there in many, many years. Because I used to just rink hop when I, felt like it. But it is I don't know how to say and they don't play like typical music or anything like that. It's very conservative, which is fine. But like I'm looking for something like that's gonna pump me up to be able to skate for exercise. And it is
Yeah.
just not that atmosphere for me.
Hmm.
Um, there's a place in Springfield, but driving all the way back to where I lived to go skating.
That's a lot.
hmm And then in summer, I play French
Yeah, my
horn
gym
two
is
times a
like
week.
5 minutes from my house, and that's why I'm there a lot because it's easy.
In summer, I play French horn two times a week at least. And so that is kind of where I get in I kind of use up all my mommy free hours
Doing that.
doing that. Um, because that is a bit of a sacrifice for John to have to deal with that, because it is a little demanding at the time. I mean, it is paid, which I get the benefit of telling him like I am a paid musician. Like
You
you
are a paid
you have
musician.
a paid artist as a wife. Like how dreamy does that sound? And he's
I
like,
love it.
I can't even put you on the taxes. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Screw you. And the
Oh,
horse you
goodness.
came in on. But he thinks that's kind of funny. So I'm never giving up that position if I can. So because I I actually need to get back on my horn for the year. Are your kids like practicing? Like, are they choosing instruments or stuff like that this year?
Yeah, Angela's playing the saxophone because I already had the saxophone and I was not going to pay for an instrument that when we already had one. And it was hilarious. So Adam was like, you're too small to play the saxophone. You need to play something else. And I was like, Adam, if she doesn't play the saxophone, we have to rent the saxophone. He goes, like I said, you're playing the saxophone. And
Oh yeah, that's right.
so
I
that was really
remember
entertaining.
now
That was a hilarious little conversation right there.
to try
And
instruments. I
and
haven't even
I
given him
keep
the option.
I keep every I'm not consistent with it, but I am teaching Angela to play the piano. So we're
Yeah,
working
my
on
kids
that.
have no interest in the piano, which is unfortunate because I have this beautiful baby grand in my front room in my library
Do you get to play
that
that often?
when I do, I play it,
Yeah,
but I don't get to play it as often as I would like.
no.
Um, oh,
I'm
hi,
just
Cubby.
I'm so not as good as I used to be. So story time for Stephanie. I studied at a conservatory of music and um
She
had a
knew what she was
scholarship
doing.
for
So did
piano,
I, to
played a
be fair.
concerto, had to do an hour long recital, all memorized in high school. And I really have not, I've barely played since I graduated. Barely. And so I've lost a lot. I imagine it would be like if I didn't sew for like 20 years and then I struggled with a 1/4 inch seam. Like that's kind of how I feel when I get back on the piano now. Like I can
Mhm.
still do it, but it takes me so much longer to get to a point where like it would have just
You're
been
just
easy before.
rusty. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, you never forget how to ride a bike. That doesn't mean that you look good on the bike.
This
Okay.
is very true. And the last time I got on a bike, I was very concerned I was gonna eat pavement.
Die.
So, yes,
Death was imminent.
pretty much. I'm like, how are my children doing this so easily? And
Oh,
I'm gonna
right?
break something.
My kids
I'm
are always
definitely
like,
breaking something.
Mom, why are you so special at things? And
That's so nice of them.
I'm like, you know what? A lot of parents will mask and not be honest about how they're doing at something. I'm not going to lie. This is a bit, you know, it's hard for a lot of people, but at least I'm willing to tell you the truth instead of make you think that one day
Everything
you'll
is
turn
easy always.
40 and you're going, this is just going to come right back to you. Mm-mm.
No,
Nope.
you're gonna wake up
You're going
one
to
day.
struggle one day.
This is what happens when you turn 40. You sleep wrong one day, and you have to take pain pills for the next 3 days because the crick in your neck won't go away.
Right?
Because that happened to me this week.
You have
Three
upstairs
days, three
ibuprofen
days
and
of pain pills.
downstairs
I don't have
ibuprofen.
that yet. We're
But
not
your
that far yet.
basement is a very separate space.
It
Like I
is.
have the bedroom ibuprofen and the kitchen ibuprofen. And we actually call it vitamin ibuprofen now.
That's funny.
Like, do you need a vitamin? And John will be like, which one? And I'll be like, the vitamin ibuprofen. And he'll be like, yes.
It's so, it's just not fun. I'm very much realizing it's just very not fun as you get older. I think
Yeah.
I need to work
I
on like
started
my
stretching.
flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to start doing that.
I started stretching. So I like get my leg up and I'm like, oh,
I
okay.
can't touch my toes anymore.
Can't either.
I can't. I used to be able to put, when I ran cross country, I would put my whole palm on the ground and still be able to lean further down.
It was
And
amazing. I used to be able to hold my leg up in the air
not
like this
anymore.
while I skated, and I
That's,
could hold behind me my leg while I was on roller skates.
what's
And
the
now
phrase?
I
Youth is wasted on the young.
use is wasted on the young.
I need to be able to
There's
do
a
that
book
now.
theme for you.
I know.
Make a book where everybody's 40, but still a
That's no
fantasy.
fun. That's no fun.
What's no fun about
They
that?
need they need to be 500 to 1,000-year-old females or 20 something women and no in
You're kind
between.
of right. But
It's
the
like no in
500
between.
something females are really your 40 somethings. Let's be
Not really.
honest.
I'm not going to say that because I feel like
Mm.
there's a whole like theory out there that the reason why this massive age gap is popular is because when they get to that point, they know how to run a household. They are
Wait, you mean
not,
they actually have it together?
they do. And they know how to run a household. They
You
generally
have to
make
be
good
500 years old
decisions.
to have your
They
household run.
they are
Wow.
in tune to the emotional needs of their partner and they don't like read into the wrong thing, although miscommunications do happen. But apparently, it takes 500 years for men to acquire these skills that women can figure out by the time they're 21. So that's what the theme is. That's the thought.
I, ah, man,
We have no hope, Chantal. None
no,
whatsoever.
none, none. Oh my God. I
Well,
love that. You know what? I'm not going to have it together until I'm a 500-year-old Faye, too. So, yeah. I was talking about this today with a friend. I was on the phone with my friend Vanessa, and she's like, I don't want you to worry about me unless I actually got my laundry done and put away in the same day. If I did that, you need to come over. Like, this is serious. Like, there's something wrong, seriously wrong. Like, I got my laundry done and I put it away in the same day. I hung it up. It didn't live in the basket for like 7 to 12 business days. She's like,
you mean there are
if
people
that
who don't do that?
happens, what? She's like, but for me, if that happens, I'm not in a healthy place. She's like, girl, I feel you.
Colleen says her nephew plays the saxophone, and her husband said to her nephew in high school when they attended a concert of his, I hope you're
Safe.
practicing safe sax, SAX,
That's great.
which is the worst dad joke.
Oh, I love a dad joke, though. We all know this at this point. Oh,
Oh
I
my goodness.
love a dad joke.
I would die of embarrassment if somebody said that to me when I was in high school. Just die.
I mean, she was practicing such safe sax that she didn't even play sax in college when she
I
could have.
didn't. That was really dumb.
She sang in choir.
So
You're
that's
never living that down.
the scholarship I had for piano. I had to perform in an ensemble. And I was like, okay, where am I playing the piano? And they're like, oh, you're going to be in choir. And I was like, I cannot sing. And they're like, oh, you're going to be in choir and you have to do the audition. I was like, please just put me in the worst choir. They're like, no, you have to do it. So I had to sing Mary Had a Little Lamb in front of four collegiate professional choir instructors whose job it was to teach people to sing at a collegiate level. And I was horrible.
Not
Just
only that, it was a
absolutely
music
horrible.
school. It was a really good. We had an opera
Just so
program.
bad. So bad. And so I got put in the worst choir and I never left because I never wanted to go through that audition process again. And
They
then,
never asked
and then
you.
like a year ago, 1 year ago, Chantal goes, why didn't you play saxophone in band? And I was like, well, that would have been a really damn good idea.
They
four
didn't
years
even
I
make
sang in
me
this choir.
audition.
4 years I sang in this choir, being terrible.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
Actually, that's not totally true. They put me in the alto section because I could read music, and as long as everybody around me is doing what they're supposed to do, I can stay with it. But if you just
I
want me to
think
be
that
on my
too in my
own,
car.
not gonna happen.
My
But
only my car knows what I
I do
really
not
sound like.
sing along ever.
In my car, I do.
I do not.
Not in the shower. That is way too embarrassing.
Oh, I hear
Somebody can
Angela
hear
singing
you.
in the shower. It's hilarious.
Oh, Hazel sings in the shower too. And that's good for them. You go. You're in the shower. You do what you want to do. I'm not going to shame you at all for singing in
Angela
the shower.
had a solo last year in choir,
Oh, I
and
remember this.
my husband can't sing either. And so she comes up there, and we're both looking at each other like, I don't know where that came from because it was not either of us.
You're like, that one was literally somebody down the gene pool that we've never met.
She was hilarious. Okay, so I have to take off my headphones for this. I'll keep this here so you guys can see. She comes up, she's embarrassed. She comes up to the microphone and she's looking like this, and she's just standing there. And then it gets to be her turn, and she dramatically throws her hair back and starts singing.
Oh my God.
So
Really?
the next week she had a piano concert because she was just embarrassed, and the next week she had a piano recital, and I pulled that kid's hair back into a ballerina bun. I'm like, you are not doing that again.
You were not
You're
like
not gonna do it again.
Wednesday.
It was just so funny. Uh, Lori says her son plays electric guitars, and they
I
just finished
remember
one.
that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Loudly.
Loudly is the thing.
I wonder what JD will choose. I don't know. I feel like he's a future trumpet.
Is he? He'll be fifth grade next year.
Yep.
I think that's when the band officially starts.
Yeah, I know they start doing their choosing instruments in May.
Apparently, they've been practicing hot cross buns the
Yes,
entire year, the whole year.
on recorder
No,
or
on
on their
in
instrument.
band,
We've been
but
doing hot cross buns on our recorder, apparently. Hazel has. And I have not heard this yet. Apparently, we don't practice in our household. That's
I coach Lego League at my kids' school, and we're getting towards the end of the year, so we're not doing the Lego robotics right now. We're just building a Pikachu that moves, for funsies. And I got it a little late this time, and all of the fourth and fifth graders had their recorders out and were playing. And I got
no,
warned
no.
by the computer teacher who was coming out. She's like, they're having a recorder concert. I was serenaded for a while. Now it's your turn. And I'm just like, oh God.
Oh, that
And
sounds
I walked in, I was like,
lovely.
recorders in your backpack, guys. It's Lego time. I'm like, I'm not listening to this. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. Ah, Ooh, Lori's son has a few famous clients. That's really cool.
I remember that. Doesn't he like refurb guitars and things like that? I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, Lori has been with us for a while, and yeah, I remember there was something very specific about the guitars. It's hard to keep everybody straight without a face.
It is,
Like
but not everyone wants to do the Zoom
we know you guys from regularly chiming
commenting.
in,
Yeah.
but it really gets hard to compartmentalize like who said
What
what or
information
who
comes
has
with
done
who? Yeah.
what and who is who, because also if you were on the Zoom before, sometimes your name is different than it
Yeah.
even is on here. And without Gwendolyn here to basically keep it all straight for us, we are a little bit hopeless.
We are. I'm a hot mess in most instances.
We are the hot mess.
I mean, I can pull it
The
together.
hot mess quilt express.
I am fairly good at pulling it
Oh,
together when
I
needed.
could pull it together too.
But for a Friday night live where we're just shooting the you know what and
This is
pinning
me
things
pulling it
and
together.
maybe sewing something at some point. Hopefully. I'm just still doing I have literally been pinning these the entire time we've been chatting for like an
I
hour
should
now.
probably share how far I've gotten on this guy
Oh
here.
yes, let's see how you're doing.
Let me turn off the thing where it wants to follow me the whole time. And there we go. So I have all my little wheats done.
Ooh.
And let's see, what else did I had already done the apples. You can feel all the texture in there. I have a number of windows. Here was the pigs that I finished up last week. You can see they have their little curly tails and their little slop. I'm about at the point where I need to sew this all together and get the Velcro on there. Um,
That could be your dopamine kick.
I know. I should show you the I was showing Brittany earlier because she was here how the panel looks before I did all the embroidery on it. She's like,
That'd be cool.
"Yeah, I had bought two because I was going to make it into a bag." But it just lacks a lot of texture is all it
Yeah.
is. Like it has everything. You could sew it just as it was. Um except for this part where it says blank farm, you're
Yeah,
supposed
we're
to
supposed to put
add.
it in. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And you could really do absolutely nothing to it. But if you get if you got a chance to feel this, all that texture on there from all those little pieces, like you can see the
It
back
looks
of
really
it.
cool.
The back of it, you can tell how much embroidery has gone into this. Like it's
Yeah,
all
that's
over
so
the
much.
place. And then eventually I'll get it all folded up and then quilted together just in the pieces here.
Hmm.
And then I have all my little animals to do, but I haven't quite decided how I want to do them. If I want to do them like a stitch and flip or I don't know. I still haven't decided because I love the idea of being able to embellish them, but they have to have the Velcro back. So I wish I had high quality felt.
I don't know
Like the
where you would
stuff
get
that
it.
Laura sells that the one that does American Girl doll stuff on Instagram, but she's the one that works for Susie Quilts and
Yes.
she does all those little like the little felt things.
We'll see where she gets it
Um
from.
well she has a shop that she works for that she gets all her felt from. And I thought about doing that, but it seems daunting, although she would totally talk me through it. She is great. But then I would end up putting felt on each one of these areas so that it could felt together. I know. Oh, DK asks, how is Gwendolyn? Is she still working on Hexies? Yes, she is still Halloween all the way. I should probably give a little update about her. If I don't think she would mind. Her daughter and her daughter's husband got matched with a military base out in New Mexico, I believe. And so there's a lot of upheaval because she takes care of her grandbabies a lot and they're all going to be moving out there. So she's going to be out there. She's a big fantasy reader too, it turns out.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
I got my
So,
boss hooked on it, and I got this message today that goes, lightning wheel there. And I'm like, oh, you're about to get to a really spicy part.
yes. So she's like, I'm going to be listening to all of these on my trip. And I was like, do be forewarned that you're going to be listening to them with your daughter in the car. And she's like, oh, that's totally fine. That's not a big deal. So, she's doing fair, and hopefully we get her back here soon to be able to sew with us because she's going to be taking EPP stuff with her on her trip and working on the her hamburgers of Hexies. If you remember, she's like,
I
it's
need to
like
get
3 hamburgers tall.
I need to get my papers for that because I have all the stuff, but I haven't done anything with cutting them or anything.
Have the Cricut file for the Hexies, so
Do
I
you?
can cut them to like for you.
I feel like though
I bought the Cricut file.
that's still so much to work. We'll figure it out.
Cricut file.
That is
It's not
so
bad.
far down the list of things that I'm gonna mess with. I'm not
I
like
feel
super
that, but
concerned
you
about
know
it.
what? I've been wanting to like get back into my Halloween Hexies and stuff like that because my plan for them, I actually have them over here, the ones that I've completed, is to possibly put them in a block instead of making them their own independent thing. Like instead of like EPPing the whole thing together, but EPPing them onto like applicating them onto a block.
Yeah, that would be
Here,
fun.
we'll do it this way so
And
that
then you don't
everybody
have to
can
make
see.
as many to actually have a
Mm-hmm.
quilt.
Because I mean, I already have, wow, I have a lot more than I thought. Look at this. I have,
That is a lot. My
and they're big.
concern would be, since they all have different color themes, that unless you do something in between them, you're not really going to see the block.
That's why I was like, I want to do like separate literal rectangles and applique them onto the rectangles. And then maybe have some type of sashing in between.
Yeah.
So they're almost like a flower on each rectangle and they have a sashing between. If I
I've seen
start
people
putting
do
them,
that with hexies,
yeah.
like
So,
actual
and
hexie flowers.
so if I do it this way, they end up connecting sort of like this, but they do get kind of mashed up together. And I'm not,
Yeah.
because some colors are a little more, you're going to run into them a little more than you're going to other things. Like I
Like your
love a pink
oranges.
Halloween, but there's not a lot of pink Halloween out there.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of orange and black. So,
Unless you don't do the exchange and you just have your own situation.
well, I don't think they're doing another exchange this year. It didn't go
Well, but
so smoothly last year.
you did the exchange though, so you have stuff
I
covered,
did
right?
do the exchange, so I had a lot, but it's funny the amount of stuff that I actually already had in
Really?
my stash. A lot of the stuff that I ended up using for these, like some of them, no. There's a number of them in here that are not fabrics that I would own, and I bet you could look at it and pick which ones I didn't own. Just looking at it.
Um, the center one and the butterfly.
Those are the ones I own. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I owned this one too, but that was just
Yeah.
happenstance because it came in a kit. But like this one, I owned basically all of them except for one. I bet you can guess which one. It's
The
that one.
flowers. Really?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just
you're not
words
so much
going
for
across
words, are
it.
you?
No.
Makes sense.
So I mean, I have a very definitive style. I know what I'm gonna like. There was a lot of, I didn't own this one and I didn't own, no, I did own that one. I didn't own this one. So maybe I'm a Gwendolyn at heart. I know I have a lot of Halloween. The
It's
funny
all
thing is
good.
she's not a big Halloween person,
She
but
just
it's
enjoys Halloween quilts.
such fun fabric. You have to admit it's like toys of fabric. Halloween, you get candy and animals and witches and ghosts and words and pumpkins, and you can use colors that are not always like, I'm making a quilt for my sofa. Like, you're not always using these colors unless you're
Yeah.
me. Um,
Even me, like my upstairs and my basement are two very different color schemes. Like down here, it's rainbow bright, and upstairs, it is all teal and gray, and it looks weird if you put anything else in it.
I think Steph knows that the only room that looks different in my house than any other space is my bedroom, because my bedroom doesn't have a lot of color in it.
Because you don't want to make it crazy for
Because
your
I'm
husband.
trying to give my husband some space, and not have it have pink and rainbow in it. But basically, every room in my house has rainbow something
Yeah.
and pink. He
Oh,
doesn't mind it.
I'm almost to the point where I'm gonna have to actually sew something.
Oh, no.
I'm not positive I want to.
I feel that. Maybe you should make some little hexies. Do you have
Oh
any
no.
scraps?
I mean, I have a whole bin of them ready to go. Do I want to do anything with it? Not really.
No, no, I understand.
Do you guys ever have that funk where you're like, I really want to do something, but nothing is truly appealing to me right now, and what it is that I want to do with my sewing?
That has been my entire week,
Your entire week?
2 weeks. I just want to stare out the window and lay in the sun.
I
I'm a
mean, it's
house
about the
plant.
time when you can do that.
Well, our house is so wonderfully situated where I get a lot of sun into the house, and I have multiple sofas that like lay in the sun. And so all I really want to do is just,
Get your bread pillow and snuggle up.
yes, it's my bread pillow.
Chantal has a pillow that's a loaf of bread.
It was my pregnancy pillow because I am
Nobody
a
should be
diabetic.
surprised by this.
No,
Not anyone, not one person.
no. It was my diabetic pillow. The joke is I don't want to hydrate. I want to carbohydrate. And so I had this bread pillow. This pillow, it literally looks like a loaf of bread, and it is a staple.
It's like a laser printed leaf
It looks like a
loaf of
loaf of
bread.
bread.
Yeah.
It's a little alarming for people when they come in. They're like, "You have a loaf of bread on your sofa." No, that is my pillow, and it is very important to this household. And when the dogs ruin their toys, I take the stuffing and I put it in.
Yeah. So it's gotten to be
It's
a
weird.
fluffier loaf over time.
It's very weird, but
And I knew
everything's a little weird
Chantal
here.
and I know each other so well that that was not new information to me that she puts the dog stuffing in this
I
bread
know.
pillow.
Well, he kills the toys so quickly.
Oh,
He
I know.
kills the toys the day that he gets them from his bark box. So I immediately take the stuffing and I put it into my bread pillow so that it could be nice and
I've been there.
fresh,
I've been
fresh
there with my
Sloven
dogs.
loaf. He killed all the bark box toys in a day and a half this time.
I have two dogs who love toys, cannot get enough, steal them from each other all the time. And one who's like, what's this thing?
What
I don't
is
care
this?
about this thing. This is useless to me.
No, which one is the one that's like, this is useless to me?
I want you to guess.
Willow.
Yes.
It was my immediate thought, but I was like, well, maybe.
Willow
Yeah,
is the mother to Jelly Roll,
has
who
no
is my
idea.
75-pound basset hound who
So big.
thinks she's still 8 pounds. She's not. Definitely not. Still. Very, very definitely not. But she thinks so. And she tries to snuggle on top of me and climb in my lap. And I'm like, get off. I haven't gone to the bathroom yet this morning. I'm gonna have an accident
Like
if you
you
stay here.
can't, you
Like,
can't cuddle on me,
yeah, I know.
or we're gonna have riptides.
I know. It's that good. You
Yes.
gotta get off, Jelly Roll.
Oh my
But
God.
but yeah, so we got Jelly Roll. She was a pandemic puppy. we put down the deposit for kind of toward the middle or beginning of the pandemic because we kept seeing these cute little Bathtown videos on Facebook Live
Oh,
that
that's
my
how we ended up with a
I
Bernedoodle.
know my pastor had tagged me on it and was like, "This is so cute," and I'm just like, oh, we need one of these. So
George
we put down
will.
the deposit, thinking surely by October of 2020, we're going to be able to go up to Minnesota and pick up this dog and it'll be fine. Of course, it's still a hot mess in October of 2020 when we go get the dog.
Oh my God.
And we bring her back. She's lovely. We love her. And then we end up with, my grandma's dog joined the brood. And then the mother was being retired from breeding. And I thought it would be the coolest thing to reunite mother and daughter, that they would love each other instantly and recognize each other and spend the rest of their days together. And it would just be beautiful. And they have no idea who the hell they are to each other. Not one bit.
They don't
They do.
realize that they're
They
related.
do love each other greatly and they give each other kisses and it's quite sweet, but I really don't think they know at
That
all
they're related. Yeah.
that I've reunited, that I got her back together with her firstborn daughter and no,
I mean, it was a beautiful sentiment. You like,
it
I
was.
mean,
I was expecting this reunion where they would recognize each other, like those videos
like da
where like
da da
the
da da
soldier
da
comes
da
home
da.
from war and the dog is so excited. Like I was expecting that, and that did not happen.
What happened?
Didn't it happen? But oh well. Big
Never met
decision
your
time.
dogs, which is kind of something that I don't think anybody here would believe, but I have never been to Stephanie's house.
Mm, been in the house a long time. Did you come when we were younger? I feel like you may have
I
come at
don't
some point.
think so. I went to your shop a lot. You were
Yeah,
always at the shop.
this is true. It was my second home.
So I've actually never been to your house.
My house is not that impressive.
I know most of it. I know the layout because you did that 6 month, that like 6 year plan or whatever.
I
So
haven't
I
done
know the
any.
layout
I've
well.
done nothing in my garden this year. I have not been outside once. Uh, so my 6-year garden plan is
So
maybe going to turn into
sad.
7.
7.
Maybe, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I
Do
mean,
you get, I probably you guys are like this too, where you get like really onto a hobby and you're like, this is awesome. I'm gonna love this. I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. And then
embroidery. Yeah,
you're like, maybe not.
maybe not.
Maybe I'll get really into that again in like 3 years. And but for right now, we're just gonna ignore it.
Please don't tell me anybody that it is quilting because
No,
that,
don't do it. That would be
although
sad.
even I go through ebbs and flows of quilting where it's like, I don't want to be a quilter right now. I want to be a creator of some sort, but I don't want to be quilting. I want to be sewing or
Yeah.
I want to be doing something where I'm creating something new out of it's always fabric. That is the one thing that holds it all together for me, but
hmm
it's not always quilting.
I do enjoy yarn a lot.
Yes, you do.
Only the
I do
good yarn
not.
though. I'm
Oh,
not a
yeah.
super fan of like the crappy yarn, which is probably why I'm not doing too much with my temperature blanket because it doesn't feel fun to work with.
I
But
was trying to explain to Brittany. I don't know if she's managed to get back on here. Are you home yet, Brittany? I was like, when I English paper piece, I like to use Orifil cotton thread. And he said it is not the best thread you can use when it comes to English paper piecing. Like there are polyester threads that are going to hold everything together and they're going to be more invisible. But it was like for me, that feeling of the cotton through the cotton and having a thread that matches it like is so
yeah,
satisfying. I'll do it every time.
I get it.
I love it.
I totally get it.
But it's a yeah, it's completely a personal thing. I think I'm kind of done embroidering this, guys. I
All
gotta
right.
put like
Dopamine
yeah,
time. It's done.
or
Finished
stress
up.
time.
No, you can do it.
Now what?
Now you're gonna bind it. You're gonna create a bag.
No, this one's not for the bag. This one's for the little like pop up.
Oh,
Well,
pop-up
it
thing.
like yeah, it like folds together like this. I got to put the so that you can open it and put your little animals in
Okay.
each one of the little barns or whatever. But I got to put the Velcro on.
All right.
Ugh.
This is not really a fun project for a live situation.
No,
This is
putting
kind of what
Velcro
I'm
on.
thinking too.
Although
I'm
putting
sitting
Velcro
here
on,
and I'm
it's
just
okay. Let's
like,
just talk.
do I
Therapy.
really want to do anything? No, not really.
That is what a lot of this is, though. This has become like we always came down here because we had projects to do. It was important. We had sewing to do, and we weren't getting the priority that was ourselves and our time together.
Yeah,
And if we sew for the first hour and then we just get to talk, that's therapy enough.
it
That's
is
what this
cool.
is. It's just,
It's therapy for all of us.
we're just all hanging
We're
out, and
chilling.
it is what it is. And I am completely comfortable with the fact that it might not be me sewing most of the time. But
Do we want to talk about our secret project or not
anybody
yet?
who's still here at this point
Probably cares.
probably.
Okay. So Chantel and I are going to start a podcast about romantasy books. And we kind of got derailed with our kids' spring break. We got to get back working on it.
Hmm.
But
We've
we have
decided
we have a
that
URL. I don't know that we've officially decided on the name, but we're working on it.
we have a pretty, I think it's a pretty strong idea of what we want it to be. And we have a pretty strong idea of what it is that we want to say. So it is not sewing related in any capacity.
No.
But just like we asked you guys, don't you dabble in other hobbies every once in a while? This is our escapism, is reading
Yes.
these books right now. And we're having a really, really good time doing it. And
Yes.
Stephanie here is all educated in her reading of books.
Yeah, my degree is well, Chantel is a voracious reader as well, as was
It's
her
true.
mother. She was raised to be so. So don't put yourself down at all.
Yeah, mine
But
is mostly Harlequin romances, though. So, if you need to know about the 10 or the 1800s or anything like that, I got you. But
but
fantasy is a new dabbling. But
my official degree, I went to school and was going to do English with a journalism minor. And then I got to the school and found out there was no journalism minor, so I interned absolutely everywhere I could. But my official degree is English with a creative writing emphasis. And my senior thesis was on the role of women in Ulysses by James Joyce. So this
mm,
is this is definitely up Stephanie's alley in terms of where my background is. And so I have a 10-page outline for Chantel on chapters 1 through 7 of A Court of Thorns and Roses for us
it's
to
true.
touch on things within there. And it's not going to be like the spice. I mean, obviously there's going to be some spice when we're going to talk about the spice, but we're also going to talk about the main guts of it are going to be like world building and hey, we're not going to do spoilers because I don't love the podcast where you have to have read the whole book before you read the episode of it
We got like
because
chunks.
everything's
Like
on there.
like
Yeah. It's
think
like a
of a
book
book
club,
club.
but like we're gonna chunk it up. And so like chapters 1 through 7, they fit like really nicely together. And I've gone through and broken up the first two books that way. And so it's going to be like 50, 60 pages that we discuss at a time. And we're going to look at world building, the role of like the religious system in there, and um,
But
all
it's also
kinds of
going to be
different things.
full of our own little quirks and things that we tend
Yes.
to fit into things. So it's a completely different project, and it might
Yes.
not be your crowd, and you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is a switch." That's okay. We're
Totally cool.
we're
I
like
think we're probably
we're
still going to hang
switching
out
it
on
up.
Fridays because this is going to be something that we like pre-record and then put out at regular intervals. But
This is
we,
more our pet project. Like
yes,
this is kind of our pet project, but that is going to kind of be like our final project. We are going to
we
work
would
on
like
that.
to make money doing this one
We
in theory.
could.
That's our goal is to make some money.
Now, not to get all weird, but I got on TikTok today. I told you about this. I got on TikTok and I started scrolling. And you know how like things come up for like tarot readers and stuff
Hmm.
like that? So I swiped to a live. I asked how, more or less what in the right direction. with Steph. It was a
Really?
very like, yeah, no, I'm serious.
I
And
don't believe
so
any of this, but I'm very intrigued. I need to know.
I know, right? Isn't it super interesting? And so, are we on the right path? Like, am I on the right path with Steph? Because this is a little nerve wracking. It's a very different direction for us. We've always
Hmm.
stayed in our very like creative. We've always had the kind of quilting thing to tag on to. And what was fascinating about this reading is that the yes no she'll do for free, and then she'll do more advanced readings or whatever for blah 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 blah. Well, whatever. I just asked, and she pulls up like, I'm not sure. I ended up getting like a 5 card reading
Yeah.
out of her for completely for free, which was wonderful. She's like dwelling on this, and it was basically like you're with a person who is the chariot. They're ready to go. They're like,
This does sound like me in
yes,
when I'm not dealing with mental health crisis. But
no, but
yes.
it was like you have somebody who is get up, go, and ready to go now. And whatever this person puts, in front of them, they can accomplish when they want to, and they're ready to do it. And then it was like, but you have to watch out for yourself and your own creative endeavors because you don't want to get lost in that. But as long as you're ready to get on that chariot, there's nothing to keep you from being successful. And I was like, hey, for free, that was really
There you
cool.
go. That was a
Right.
good little.
But it was super cool because she's like pulling cards and all this stuff. And it really made a lot of sense that like if we actually put the effort into this could totally be a thing. I think we already knew that,
Yeah, we did. It's so
you know,
popular right now.
and I
Like,
think
will
we
it be a
already
thing
know this is so
forever?
different. I know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Is romanticy going to be like the thing forever and always? Probably not. But it
Probably
can
not.
be a fun ride.
Exactly. And that was the thing. It was like, as long as you don't think this is going to interfere with your own creative endeavors, there is no reason why this can't be a successful and lucrative career. It's
Yeah.
like, that's satisfying enough for me to be like, oh, yes, I will buy all of it. And then I,
Yeah.
I left the tarot reading because I don't necessarily believe in those, but I wanted to hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It's fun.
sometimes you shake the little eight
8 ball.
ball
Yeah.
and you're like, doing the right thing. Like, oh, that's not what I wanted to say. Okay. Yes, I'm doing the right thing.
For
It
me,
was super cool.
like, Chantal and I both grew up in very religious households, and mine was one where like you prayed about everything that was
Everything.
happening, everything,
Me too.
because God cared about what you ate for dinner. He really, really, really cared about that. And if that's you, that's great. But for me now as an adult, I often am like, God has some really big things to worry about, and you know
My
how
dinner is not one
how
of
my
them.
how my day goes today is probably not super high on the priority list when we
Probably not.
have all the other things happening in the world. Does he care? Yeah, I think so. But, am I going to pray that traffic goes well on the way to work? No, I'm not going to pray for that. And
No, that's up to
but
the whoever's.
but I have had way too many instances in my life where things have just come together so perfectly to where I
Yes.
can't explain it
What
in
you would
any other
consider
way than
serendipity.
somebody is looking out for me to make that happen. So,
Amen. I feel that
yes.
so much. There are things that or repeating numbers that I experience, or there are just things that align in such a way that it's like, this couldn't just happen, could it?
Yeah.
It feels too created.
Yeah. And like perfect example. So I had hired um someone who I knew who worked at a local yarn shop when we had the shop to come work for me and do some part-time stuff. And we were talking about bringing in some yarn and doing some knitting classes. And So we used to have, when we had in-person shop and in-person classes, we would have these demo days a couple
Hmm.
times a year where we would kind of preview everything that was going to be happening for the classes and people could sign up and then we get a discount on their supplies and classes when they signed up that day.
Right.
So we had this huge demo day. She did a bunch of knitting demonstrations. We got a bunch of people signed up for classes and then she quit that night. And I could teach some of the classes, but I couldn't teach classes like how to knit a sock because I had not successfully knit a sock at that point. And
Right.
so I I was like messaging my people who I knew knit, and I was like, "Do you know anyone?" And they're like, Courtney Berry can do it." And I was like, "Okay, let's go find her." And so I message her. We meet. She starts being our knitting instructor. It's fabulous. We have a great relationship. And I tell my husband, I'm like, when we're ready, she is very capable of being one of our employees and bringing us to the next level. Because at that point she was a stay-at-home mom, but she's very smart. Also went to Augustana,
Oh
and
yeah.
I just knew. I was like, she's got what it takes. And COVID hits. We're talking back and forth about stuff, and I was like, hey, I need somebody to edit my videos and to do some of this web stuff because I don't have the time to
It
do it.
got
And
you
we're
got
we're making
swamped.
yeah, we're making enough money now where we can do this. We can have you on for like 20 hours a week. And she's like, so I just decided I'm getting a divorce and I need a job. So this is absolutely perfect. And that, I mean, Courtney was essential in getting our business from where
Yes.
we were at there to where we ultimately got to our highest point. And still one of my very good friends to this day.
Yeah.
And none of it would have happened if that woman hadn't quit right after we signed a bunch of people up for yarn classes.
You would
And
think that that was unlucky, but
yes,
in a way, because of the unluck,
yeah.
managed to get this moment that was brilliant.
Mhm. Yeah. And there's just too many things like that where it just everything fell perfectly into place and something really awesome came out of it. And
Yeah, I've experienced it many times over, and I'm sure you guys have experienced the moment too where you're like, "This is awful," and then something beautiful comes out of it,
yeah,
like too perfect to actually happen. And I think that's kind of us too, though, right? Like we started all of this as a Stephanie needs to get out of her funk
yes,
situation. Well, we wouldn't know how well we worked together had we not done this for a
yeah.
year, right?
And spent 3 weeks together on a boat
We
and didn't want to kill each other.
had the
Oh,
opportunity to murder each other and we thrived.
we did
Not
not.
in the
We did
murder,
not.
but we thrived. Well, we thrived as in we didn't each other.
I mean, we
We
did
loved
have
each
a
other
midlife
more.
crisis about halfway through the trip.
It was not about each other. It was about
No,
all the other things.
it was about Stephanie not taking her anxiety medication so she could drink and had a little bit of a breakdown. That's what
Had a
happened.
breakdown. Oh, but those sandwiches were
They
good.
were good
We're
sandwiches.
never going to give up on the midnight sandwiches.
I know,
Those
right?
were, mm.
I,
Do you still have
I,
open spots on that cruise?
we do
Come, everyone.
until
I
until Monday, pretty much.
hop on
Come
it.
to Alaska with me, July 13th through the 20th. They
That was the
are,
one week John
it
did
was
not
so
get
fun.
off.
That sucks.
It's like, I'm going to hop on it. I don't care.
You can come.
I'd love to, but he didn't get that week off.
I know. It's all good.
Bummer.
But so yeah, I haven't told Ray and John yet. I mean, they know we're about to do a podcast, but I haven't told them that I was like, our goal is cruise podcast in a couple years.
Oh, yeah. No,
I think that audience is probably way bigger than quilting. Way bigger.
I think we probably fit the right demographic a little better, especially with the kind of name that we chose. We haven't gone into that, and we're probably not going to go into that here, but we're playing on the idea of like, this is our real life,
Yeah.
and we're just normal mom women, but we are playing in this fantasy land. And
And
it is
we
so much more comfortable there.
I also was very adamant that we not have smut in the title because we all might need real jobs someday. And Google
There
is
were a few
forever.
other words I threw around, but apparently they were very inappropriate too. And I have to admit, I agree that they were very inappropriate. I mean,
One of
she's
my
like, I
friends,
can't possibly have my parents in the face and have the word smut in the title. I was like,
oh my God. So I have not told my parents or my in-laws what I'm up to with writing this book. And I've written some of the scenes. I've written some of the spice scenes. And I'm just like, if this ever actually gets published, I'm just going to tell them that I did it, and please do not read the book.
it's gonna be
Or
like, what was that
skip
one I sent
skip
you? I sent you the like,
this chapter,
this
and this
is where they
chapter.
kiss. And it has like a big post-it note covering everything. And it's like, this is
Oh,
where they kiss. And then you go a few pages over and it's like got a block out and it's like
they're still kissing.
they still kissing,
Yep, they're
and
still
then
kissing.
you go to a few pages later and it's like
Oh,
this whole area is still under construction. Like don't read that. You know,
that's what I need. I need a parent approved copy
I'll work on it.
manuscript. Yeah,
I'd
it's
be
gonna
happy
have to
to.
be. It's gotta happen.
Love anything funny, anything that can make me giggle. So being able to come up with reasons why they can't, like, they're at a restaurant now. Clearly there's not restaurants in this scene.
No, there's
It's
not
like they're
restaurants.
at a restaurant now. They're talking romance. They're doing
Yep.
romance. And
Oh goodness.
yeah. It'll be good
I
stuff.
have been up until like 2 in the morning multiple nights this week writing just because it's
She
funsies.
has the
It's been so
bug on
fun.
something, but I don't know. It was really weird. It was, why am I on TikTok? Number one, I'm never on TikTok.
No, you aren't. You never send me
Why
any
am I
TikTok or anything.
asking for a random tarot reading? And why did I, out of the like 13,000 people that are all on this thing, manage to get through? And I didn't say if it was a career thing. I just said, am I on the right path with Steph?
Which, for all she knows, could be a relationship question.
A relationship. It could be putting down my dog. It could be anything.
Please don't name your
Like,
dog Stephanie. That one's off limits. It's a no limits name.
all right, well then you can't name your parakeet Chantal. Okay,
Okay,
so
no problem.
yeah, no, we can agree on that right here. But
Have you ever had a bird? When you have birds, they
yes, I
literally
had three
poop on your
birds.
wall. They poop on your wall. You
No,
have
no, no, no.
birds?
See, my birds, yeah, I wasn't allowed to let them out of the cage. They were
Oh,
finches. So these were my first pets because we lived in apartments and we weren't
okay.
allowed to have like real
We had
pets.
finches and we had a canary, and I remember there being bird crap on the wall in the kitchen.
That's
I
fair.
remember this
I mean,
very clearly.
yeah, I loved my birds, but I was an only child and I didn't have like kids to play with. I remember playing war with my birds, like turning over the
Oh,
cards for them because there's like nobody to play with or whatever, and they always won. It was really unfair considering that, they weren't
you were
even
the
really
human.
playing.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I can see why that would mess with
Hmm. Another therapy session right there.
you. How are we going to unpack that, Chantal? How did that make you feel?
That made me feel terrible.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, I think the podcast will be fun, but I think it's still going to be kind of video cast podcast so that we can
Yes.
still
We'll have a YouTube channel.
play to the YouTube.
It will not be Cult Addicts Anonymous. We're going to do our own thing with it. We probably will
Although it's
use the
not like we're not
list.
going to invite you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to use the list to let you know like what we're up to. So when we're ready to do it. But we've got like about 3 months where we're going to be planning it before we actually launch anything. And it might be longer than that, but we want to have a lot of content like ready to go because
And we
we're
want to do it
moms
right.
and things happen and we don't want to like not get an episode out because all our kids vomited
Or
that week
sick.
and it didn't happen. And you know,
The beauty of our Friday nights is that they're flexible to us. And if we don't have a project to do, we just sit here and talk to you.
yeah.
Like, or
But
to
this
each
takes
other. It's not a big
planning.
deal.
Like I need to have like a 10-page outline so that way we can discuss all the things in the
I'm
chapter.
the I'm the mortal in the situation. So Stephanie's going to provide the outlines, and I'm going to be like, well, as the mortal reading this, I felt like, because if you've read the first book of
Like there
A
was one
Court of Rose
point
and Thorns.
I was talking with her and I was like, you remember that big mural in the library that had the cauldron and it basically had their creation story in it? And she's like, the what? And I'm like,
He's like, I don't remember that at all.
I was like, oh yeah, that's there. And it's really like important because it foreshadows all this stuff. And
And I had a very sunny disposition still about, so when I'm reading, I'm really like into the narrator's point of view. I'm
mhm.
not thinking outside of that as a literature based person would. I'm just happily like going along with, the narrator's point of view, thinking that this is clearly the truth. That's
Not always the
not
case because
not
they don't
always the
always have
case.
all the information.
Or they're
And
naive.
yep.
And so
And you're
it's
only
been really
limited
fun to bounce this
to what
off
they
of each
know.
other
Yeah.
because I don't want to be the stupid one in the situation. Oh, Brittany, I'm so glad you made it home.
I know
Oh,
you haven't read the Fourth Wing series yet, but
moving on, I think,
I
because the other ones are
I
just
think a
taking too
lot
long.
I think a lot oh that you will not be able to stop it. Like once you start, it's gonna be that and like Quicksilver. Both of those ones I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot get enough. But the final the final page in that one, we get a lot of information from like a totally unnamed random character. And so you're making assumptions about somebody that we really love and whether or not they're truly evil. And I'm just like, we can't trust anything this guy is saying. Who knows if this guy's really evil?
And
Probably
I'm
not,
like,
you
I
know?
drank the Kool-Aid. I think that
Uh,
it'll be fine. And so I think it'll be a fun to play on that
yeah,
at least. And you know how many people really want to get an in-depth reading of these books? You'd kind of be surprised the amount of
yeah.
people that are like very, very deep in this stuff.
Very, yes, very in like I should reread an Onyx Storm. Yeah, I finally went through the dramatized versions of the first two, and oh
It's
man,
dramatized.
it is dramatized. It is
It has
dramatized.
sound effects.
You can hear the furniture in certain scenes.
Just make that up, people. You don't
Yep.
have to ask. You know what that means.
You know what I'm talking about.
You
But
know
yeah,
what we mean. You know what I mean.
you
And
know what I mean.
I told Gwendolyn to go ahead and get some of them for A Court of Thorns and Roses so that she can let us know what exactly the dramatized version is like in
Yeah.
those, because so far I've done the narrator, but I also really like switching to my Kindle. So I go back and forth between listening and like physically reading.
This is how much of a nerd I am. I will listen to the audiobook, then I will read the paperback, and then I will listen to the dramatized. And then I'm going to do a reread again before I do the notes on
Tell me
paper.
she's not meant for this. I
I
am just the
This
friend
is
that's,
just
I
how I
mean,
am. This is how my
you know
brain
the
works.
guy that plays like the lute in the background, of all the
Oh,
scenes and like The
whatever.
Witcher or
You're gonna
something?
do
That's
great.
me.
You are not you are not him. You are so much you
The lute
are
player.
what's her name? You're my
What's her
Yennefer.
name?
If I'm
Oh, I'm your
if I'm Geralt, you're Yennefer.
Yennefer. Spicy.
Equal well, not that. Equally as
Lute player,
powerful. Equally as powerful,
but separate.
but separate.
Yeah, this will be a fun random adventure.
I'm sorry.
What?
It's only funny if you read the book. She goes, dramatized is so good though, armoire, and that's the furniture. I'm just gonna,
Oh,
yeah.
Brittany. She's naughty. I like Brittany.
My boss is literally at that section tonight, and I get this thing that says Lightning
Is this
Wielder.
an
And I
Onyx Storm or is this
no, this is
an
the first one, Fourth Wing. And I was like, oh, you're about to get to a really spicy scene. And then I get a text back a couple minutes later and it goes, hello. And I was like, do you know about the armoire? And she's like, splinters. And I'm like, yes.
See, I'm not sure what we're getting into. The thing is that
There are
all of
three spicy
my
scenes in that
reading
book, and one of them they
first
just kiss. So it's not
my
as bad
reading
as
for
it sounds.
years has been closeted. Like
Yes.
we haven't we haven't talked about the amount of random trashy books that I have read that should not be considered literature in any such way. Um, and that's why I love them because there's just nothing. They are what they are.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting into a lot of this stuff and literally break down in visceral human reaction. Yeah, there's a lot.
There's so much in it.
You know?
Like I saw this one thing where it's like, I don't know, they're all kind of hoping for a better world, right?
Mhm.
That's the theme of all of these books. Everybody is fighting
That's
for a
what
better world
fantasy
than
is
they
all
have.
about.
Yeah.
We
And
live in this mysterious world, and the goal of the world, as in any world, is to have it be a better place or a more cohesive place or overcome the plot
yeah.
that has overcome the place.
And then you get a good love story along the way with a little bit of
And
spice.
when that's required, for
Yes.
at least for us, that's why it's romantasy.
Yeah.
John's like, romantasy is a thing.
It is so a
Like,
thing.
romantasy is a thing. He's like, you made that
Um,
word up. It's like, no, somebody else made that word up.
we're gonna get like through the plot and actually like really dive into like the world,
Why
like
there's the smut.
character building. We talked about religious structures, things like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
things, no spoilers, but hey, this is going to be important later. Make sure you really go over this section.
Yeah, this is an
Um,
Easter egg for the future.
yeah, we're not going to tell you what it means, but make sure you remember this because it'll be important later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
It's
things
like
like
a
that.
glorified club.
Yes. You
There's
hate the war
always
stuff
war
because
and
there's always
fantasy stuff.
war. Yeah. Well,
If there wasn't war, it would
you got to
be.
fight for something, man.
There's always war,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I always was really scared of the idea of war as a child, not realizing that we were already in multiple wars. But
Oh,
what
yeah,
the
always.
idea of war was for me was the idea of fighting on my own land. But
True,
yeah,
which is
you know,
unlikely for us.
right. But when I was a kid, it was just this fear of that and 10 to 4. What does that mean?
10-4. Like she's got it, I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was like,
So
wait, what is this? Is this a meaning to something else? What does that mean?
what I've been really doing is I've been rereading these books in multiple different formats. It's really studying like how it all comes together, like the plotting, the how do we mix in world building along with moving along what we need to know for plot and the character development. And that's the thing that, like, as I'm plotting my own, that I'm just like, okay, well, I've got the love
Mm-hmm.
story down really well, but what about everything else that needs to happen? Because
There's a lot of
the
moving
world
parts.
exists beyond this. How am I going to get the
And
rest of the
how do
world
you
into
build
that?
that to
Yeah.
help you, but also to round out an
Yeah.
idea?
And I think like I'm probably like the one I'm working on now, I bet you I probably will have half of it written by the time I get done plotting. And then the
Mm-hmm.
rest of it will fill in with like the world beyond their love
Yeah, the
story.
immersive details
Yeah.
that are necessary to make you feel like you're there. I mean, that is really how that's what makes a good book a great book, though,
Yeah.
is it's immersive. You're there, you feel it. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, I always think back to Harry Potter because it was one of the first books I read as a kid that actually took me somewhere. So many of
Exactly.
the books were like, I'm here, there was something bad or a plot of some sort, and then there was a conclusion. But not very many books actually took you somewhere and
Hmm.
made you be somewhere and made you think of things outside the plot line
Yeah.
that could be something. And that is to me what makes a good book a great book.
Yeah. Like literally when I'm at the gym and I'm doing the leg move where you have like the
This one?
you have your legs out and you're doing this one. I'm like, I could be training my legs to go ride a dragon. Like that's what I think of every single time I'm on that machine. I'm like, I can hold on to a dragon now. I can do 50 pounds. I can do this.
Onto
And
a dragon.
as we mentioned last week, I am a 40-pound overweight woman. I am not riding a dragon, and I'm not going to have a shadow daddy. It's not going to
I'm
happen
not
for
even
me.
going to mention the fact that dragons might not be real,
You know,
but you
there's
are not.
also that
Mm.
problem. But if they were, I would just make a run for it.
It's really funny the amount of things that I let like fall into my imagination that are clearly not real, but are totally real to me.
Yeah.
Like if I'm having a really good time and I'm throwing a party or something, I'm like, I'm going to be like Pinkie Pie. And I,
Yep.
you know, and
I
like,
totally get that.
yeah, that's a My Little Pony reference
It
for
is.
all that aren't watching too many cartoons these days.
Who
Or
haven't
like when I'm
seen
trying to
every
pump
single
my
episode of My Little Pony?
when I'm trying to pump myself up and get myself to like overcome a stupid obstacle, I watch Miraculous Ladybug because they're constantly like
Doing that.
it's another kids show because I have to watch kids shows in front of my children. And so, you use these false worlds to build up your confidence even though they are not real. They are real. They are real in here, but that's what makes a great book though,
I
is the
was
fact
talking
that
with
it can be
someone,
real.
I was talking with someone today about the process of filming a video. And I was like, you are your most excitable version of yourself. And it's like when you go to a conference and you have to be on the whole time and
Mm-hmm.
you're exhausted and drained afterwards because it's not that you're acting, that you're not being you, you're just being the most excitable version of you. You're not the version of you that's sitting on the couch doom scrolling your phone.
It's like the dog when you come
Yeah.
into the house, how happy they are to see you. You
Yes.
have to do that the whole time.
Hmm.
The dog doesn't do that.
They all get so excited. It's so
And they
ridiculously
stay
excited.
like that forever.
I
I'm getting
know.
another beverage. I'll be right back. But I'm
You're all
still
good.
with you.
You are still with me.
I'm still with you.
Are we gonna make it to midnight tonight?
Oh yeah, we're gonna make it to midnight.
We're
We
gonna make
we
it to
are
midnight.
if anybody makes it with us, then they are lucky to know all our plans.
I am 100% still gonna be writing when I get off of this thing though.
Oh, I know you are.
I
I'm a
stopped at
hundred
a good
percent still
part.
going to be
I
reading.
I stopped at such a good part. It's like the critical
Can you
scene.
give, I mean, can you give us any details
Okay,
of
so
your book that
here
will be not necessarily pivotal to
here's what
the
the
plot, but like what can you give us?
so like first book, there's this she's 21 and she is the only child of a lord. It's like medieval, but like they have indoor
Tell
plumbing
them what you
because
bought to study this.
I bought multiple textbooks on medieval weaponry and siege equipment so that I would
Siege
be
equipment.
able to accurately describe what life was like under siege in medieval times. So they are boring, but they have lots of pictures, which is very
The
helpful.
pictures are really cool.
Yes, very, very helpful. So those are on my bedside table as well as Akatar and Quicksilver and Fourth Wing and all the things. So
Me too.
she's 21. Her father's had no son. She was the only child. Mom died in childbirth. Doesn't know a lot about her mom. Dad doesn't really talk about her. And um, so and she's like 5'10", can kick some ass because
We
he
saw
has
the
trained
picture
her.
earlier. I mean,
Yes,
ooh,
he has trained her to be able to defend it. She's going to be the only woman who has ever in the history of their country held a seat on her own. And he's just prepared her for this her whole life. And so they've been at war on and off with a rival province who they share a border with. And as long as there have been records, there have been issues between these two families.
mm-hmm.
And so her father goes off to go defend the border, and she's left to guard the castle which comes under siege from the two sons, um,
These two sons are very
Ken
important.
Kenrick and Brandon. Brandon is the younger son.
Oh, we have
They have names.
names,
We have
folks.
names. And her name is Lena, which I chose because it means like heart of a lion or something like that. And
I like it
so
though.
I do. I like it too. I like it, Atlanta. Like it sounds good. Like there's a lot of like you two might not like this, but she has a potty mouth, and so does her
Stephanie's letting her real
eventual
self
love
go here,
interest.
guys. Watch out.
And so there's a lot of fuck Lena, what are you doing? Like there's a lot of stuff like that.
On a
There's
naughty
a there's a
language, but
there's a lot of
hey,
naughty language in this book.
you're one of the
She's a
people that's still
warrior.
here with us. You're here for
She's
it. I know you
she's a
guys are our
warrior.
friends.
She's been brought up around men who fight, and she's you got to have potty mouth if you're going to do that. So that's where it starts. Her castle's under siege. These two brothers are in charge of the siege, and while their father's off fighting in another area. And brother number two goes over the wall on the first night of the siege, and she captures him, takes him down because she's a badass. And how much should I say do you think about the seduction?
I feel like what you need to know is that there are two brothers.
So one
I
of the
feel
things
like you
here's
don't
one of
want
the
to
things
give
she's
too
been trained
much.
in. I just want to say, I think we have to say this.
Ooh, do you want to say
So
it?
the
Do
king
you?
suggests to her father, the king and her father are very tight. That because she is going to be holding power in her own right and she is a woman, that if she also is able to seduce a man, that she will have more power over him than any opposing army could. So she gets training in that area, but doesn't actually get to do anything.
Train.
No one is
Yeah.
allowed to touch her. And so when somebody comes over the wall who doesn't really care what her father thinks, she finally gets her opportunity to give things a
To
test drive.
practice on,
Yes.
yeah, the seduction per se.
So she ends up with younger brother and things go awry and it does not work out for either of them. And um, you know,
I don't want
book
you to
one
go too deep, but the point
book
is
one
that you
ends.
end up with
Yeah.
this
Book
this
one ends and she's very
where
broken.
is the fate? Where
Yeah.
is she to be? And I
Yeah.
love that the difference between book one and book two really have to do with her spirit and where
Yes.
she is at that point.
So like
And
book
that is
one, she very much is like in her own power. She's like this is her first test of leadership and she's doing very well.
it's
Um,
like when you're young and you
yeah.
feel confident in what you're
Yeah.
doing because you don't know to not feel confident.
Yeah.
But she kind of gets schooled over all of
She
this,
does.
not in such
She
a direct
makes
way, but you start to feel like you're not so confident in it because you're starting to learn that you don't
yeah.
know a lot.
She makes a decision that ends up being a not a good one. And there are some very major consequences to do that. And she also ends up discovering, she doesn't discover it till very end, but she ends up figuring out that she has some magic from her mother's line. And
Which starts to get everything
yeah,
really. This is
which it
why book
starts
two
messing
is your
things up.
favorite because
And
book one is literally the introduction
yeah, it's very
to.
little magic in book one, just tiny bits because it's just a little hint of it. She doesn't know what it is. She doesn't know why she has it. She doesn't know how to train any
Mhm.
of it. It's just there, and it really controls her more than she controls it. And that starts to
Yes.
mess with her confidence. And then because of the decisions that she made that were not great, she ends the book one in a very dark place, a very,
And so
very dark
when
place.
you start book two, you have a very different main character
Yeah.
in a way, somebody who's
She's,
aged a bit
yeah,
from her time
yeah. So
accidentally getting some wrong decisions.
she's very broken and she's getting shipped off to the capital because as part of the treaty, she is engaged to the younger prince. And
Is the
another
prince and the brother different? You have to.
yes, different. So Prince Corbin is going to be her
Ooh.
betrothed. She does not like him. He does not really like her. Um, they
But it's set up because it
he
is
is
an opportune match,
well, it's just the way
not for them.
the king at the end suggests that um they have Lena, who is the daughter, the main or female main character, and Kenrick, who is the older son, who she did not have a relationship with, get married and join their lands, and then maybe they'll quit fighting because they'll be joined.
Hmm.
And but he suggests it because he knows they're never going to go for it. He doesn't actually want this to happen. And so when that gets rejected, he says, "Okay, fine. I have two sons. You each have a daughter. One of your daughters is marrying. Each one of your daughters is going to marry one of my sons." And so she gets sent to marry the younger son, who is a, a
The
jerk.
young prince.
Yes. Well, he's older than her, but
Right. This
he's
was
not a
what was
nice guy.
always confusing to me when we would talk over all of this
Yeah.
stuff because we've talked over this, it feels like 1,000 times
Yeah.
over already. But there are three males
There's
essentially. There are
three.
two
So Lena,
brothers, and
yeah.
there's a young prince.
So
And so,
at the end of book one, Brandon gets sent away back to his father's area. So he's out of the picture. So what and everything that happened at the end of the book pretty much ended things between them anyway. So it's not really like there's not really a
mhm.
future for them. We don't feel like there should be. Um, and his older brother, Kenrick, and um, Lena are being sent to the capital to basically learn how to lead. They're supposed to shadow the king, learn how the language of the courtiers, learn how to, put on an air of I don't really care what's going on right now,
Mhm.
so nobody knows what your true feelings are, so that way you can rule effectively. That they're getting sent there for that. And the prince that she's supposed to marry, Corbin, is staying with her father because
Okay.
he's supposed to be kind of getting him in line because he's
This
kind of a
is so
shit.
much easier with names.
Yeah, it is.
I
So
started back when there was like the
yeah,
other one,
I know.
and there was the older one, and there's the king's one,
Yeah.
and it was very hard at that
There are
point.
names now. They all got names this week. Everybody got a name. There's still no last names. I got to figure that out. Or names of places. Don't have that either. But so Corbin is with her dad in
Okay.
her castle, and Lena and the older brother, Kenrick, are going to the capital. And
Do you
the
think Corbin
biggest
and Kenrick as names are going to be confusing?
um I think reading no, because one's a C and one's a K.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. But in audio,
I
worth
don't
thinking
know.
about.
They speak very differently.
Oh, well then you'll be fine.
One of Corbin is just an absolute dick, an absolute dick. And Kenrick is always on her side,
You guys can tell she
always.
has been letting this float
Yes,
around, and then all of a sudden it exploded.
yes. So at the very end, this is probably a big thing too. So at the very end of the book, of book one, she discovers, well, actually Brandon discovers a book that her mother had written for her and left for her because
Hmm.
the magic that she has developed in the first book is that she's able to see the future in her dreams. And she doesn't see much. It's very
Don't give
limited.
too much
I'm just
information.
saying it's
You
very
a little
limited,
bits.
but there's a hell of a lot more she can do. And but she doesn't know any of this. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know why this is happening. And so this book is going to be like her guide. It's going to be her teacher. And so she um that's kind of her guide as she starts to develop this in book two. But the big like real big plot twist is that the king wants her to do something very bad, very, very bad that she does not want to be on board with at all. And her father is also has planned this. And she finds out at like the beginning of book two that basically they have molded her to fit their vision of what they need her to do. And they think that they've made a bad decision for what for a good reason, and it's just gotten way out of control. And so she doesn't want any part of their plan
And she's
and
already feeling terrible
she
in
feels like
general.
she's completely lost her agency because everything that she is and everything that she's been molded to be, she thought it was so that she could have like really rule in her own right and be equal to a man.
Right.
And
They thought
really,
they were bringing her up, but
yeah,
really it
and
was their own
really
plan.
that it's so that she's capable of fulfilling what it is that they want her to do, and it's she doesn't want any part of what this plan is. And so she's in a very broken place. She cannot tell anybody what's going on because they will be killed if she says something about it. And she also feels like she can't get close to anybody because then they'll be used as leverage in order to make her do this thing that she really doesn't want to do.
So she's very
And
isolated.
very isolated. But she
Kind of
just
accidentally.
because she is like kind of stuck with Kenrick, who she doesn't really at the beginning see as she doesn't understand why he's on her side, and he doesn't really either.
This is older
Um,
brother.
this is the older brother who's left behind, who also was a dick to her in book one and said that she was really did a dumb thing. And
So
and
he's not
but
exactly a hero the whole time.
no, but he recognizes that she is in a really awful place and that she has nobody there. And she just she's very not in control of her emotions at that point,
Hmm.
and she really can't control them around him. Like he is always able to tell exactly what she's feeling, and she cannot hide it from him. And so over the course of the book, they start to develop attachments to each other that they're trying very hard to hide because she wants to keep him safe. Um,
Hmm.
and she also can't be honest with him about everything in a way to keep him safe.
Yeah,
And meanwhile, she's also developing all these powers. And so it's
that's
really,
super fun. That no wonder
yeah,
you love book two so much more
yeah,
because book one really is just the appetizer.
yeah.
It's so
But,
fun.
but yeah,
Like how Brittany's
I,
all in.
it's
She's
so
in.
fun. She is. She's in. Good deal. But and then they're also really good for each other too. Like they're very evenly matched physically in terms of battle and competition. And so like they really enjoy beating the shit out of each other in sparring matches. And which also
Actual sparring
helps
matches.
actual sparring matches. Um, but it also helps kind of prove the ruse that they really don't like each other because they're regularly beating the shit out of each other when everybody is practicing their sword play. So people think they really don't like
Actual
each other
swordplay.
at all. But like in an actual sparring gym where things are actually being used with real swords and not euphemisms for swords. And so
Oh man,
but yeah. But so
that's good
the
stuff.
point I'm writing now that I'm working on right now is the point where she like breaks down and cries in front of him for the first time. And she's never cried in front of anybody ever. But
She
she's
just doesn't have
basically
that weakness.
no, well, it's been drilled out of her. Like you can't have this. Like,
No,
you're supposed to be it. Your father's this legendary warrior. This is what you are. And you cannot rely on anybody else. You just need to handle
no.
your shit. And she just she's going to tell him about
Have a breakdown.
the horrible thing that happened at the end of book one. And he
Hmm.
knows what happened, but he doesn't like he knows that
He
the
knows the
thing
story
happened.
of it.
He
Yeah,
doesn't know the details of what she went through as it happened. So she's about to tell him the
right.
details. And at this point is when she's going to realize that she is in love with him and he's her mate. But she's not going to tell him either of those things. So it's a really pivotal moment.
Yeah, and
So,
now you guys know all of those details, all
yes.
16 of you still watching. But you know
Uh,
what? I feel strongly that one day people are going to be like looking this up to try to find the answers of what is going to be in the next book.
maybe they will, but
Maybe they'll never find it. Buried into the
uh,
internet.
buried. It exists, people. It exists.
It exists on a
But
quilting
literally, this
podcast
is
of all
we
things.
started at the very beginning of this saying that my husband's mad at me because I've literally been writing all week long and not doing anything for the house. And I tried to get him to, because he's going to come into her room because she's woken up having this dream of like
Hmm.
reliving it. And she's just like absolutely terrified and upset. And he's just going to hold her. Like no spice. This is not a moment for spice. And he's just
This
gonna
is
hold her.
how we started this,
Yeah.
right? Where you're
And
just like, what is an embrace?
I was like, honey, I need you to just sit on the bed and I need to hold you because I need to know like where hand placements are going to be.
Just embrace me.
And he's
No.
like, no. He's like, I'm mad at you. And I'm like, it's nothing spicy. I just need to know, like, if I held you and you were sitting on the
Like,
headboard
where do
with
your
like,
hands
where
go?
are my
How do I
hands?
feel
And
comfortable? Like, so we
he's
don't
like,
have
no.
situations where there's a hand here and I like what is actually
Uh,
comfortable. I would have hugged
Brittany,
you, but
Brittany's all, you know what? If you were here, I would love to snuggle with you and lay my head on your shoulder.
oh,
That would be great.
I would show you where the
Uh,
embrace is proper
but yeah, I honestly think I feel like I've read so much that I
after
feel
a
like I can
pot
handle.
roast.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah,
After a
maybe
pot roast, maybe
I've got
things
to
will get
make the
better.
pot
You can
roast
figure out
tomorrow.
the embrace.
If I can make a pot roast and clean the um kitchen
Hmm.
and do maybe 2 loads of laundry, I think I'll be back in his good graces. I think I can manage that tomorrow.
Is that the cost?
I think it is. I
Okay.
think it definitely is. But
I
but
hope
yeah,
that's the cost.
I
That
think
seems
the
he is
hardest
a
part for
eat
me,
get the food kind of guy,
he is
You can
he
feed
just
him better.
I don't know. I think he would like if I made more dinners for sure.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I mean like you could feed him until he's better. Like if you make him dinner and make that
Yeah.
pot roast, he'll quickly forget because his tummy will be full. Hopefully.
Yeah. He also has enjoyed the romanticy obsession, so there are other ways of
This is true.
yes.
Hmm.
It has been a good side effect.
But
But
mostly it's the food.
yeah. Oh, Brittany
At
says
least
he's
that's
got to
what we're
hold the
saying.
head during the cuddle. So one of the things that he always does that I think is so sweet, and Chantel, someday you have to be my test reader and tell me if it's too much, like Rasand always picking invisible lint off his shoulder.
Yeah, he
But
does pick a lot of
he does
invisible lint.
all of the invisible lint. But his thing that he always does is he like holds her hand like this and then like does this over his cheek. And like
Oh,
that's like his thing for her because at the beginning, like there really isn't like
nothing.
they can't there's too much crazy ass history between the two of them. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like they can't do it. So, but
Brittany
I
gets
think
it.
honestly the hardest part for me is going to be filling in all the world building around like the love story.
That's the fun stuff.
I know. Like I have an idea. I know how this world looks. But like to seamlessly integrate it, that's going to be
Because you do, you just drop a little
yeah.
dewdrop here and a little bit there and a
Yeah.
little bit there. And eventually you have this whole world, but you have to do it justice
Yeah.
without
Like
dwelling on it so long that people are like, oh my God, get over it.
I literally wrote at the very beginning of my outline for book 1, need more outside of the bedroom. Like that is a bullet point. You need more of the world outside of the bedroom.
Like,
Because
we
like,
just know what those sheets look like.
well, God no. But well, because book 1, they're stuck in a siege the entire time. They're in one setting.
That's hard.
So that's gonna be hard. Um and then he's confined to like an apartment, basically. And then eventually he gets with good behavior, he gets to go do other things.
Yeah, that will be very difficult because you're
But
building a world without seeing it.
yeah, because
You're
eventually he'll
talking
get to
about what
like
she misses
yeah.
and things like that.
Well, but there are two, I'm always going to have at least two narrators, her and the love interest.
Hmm.
And so we get two different perspectives of how things are going. And she is
I think
not going
it'll
to
be
be the one
good.
to fall first. Fuck that.
No, we're done with that.
She's she's a badass. But
She's really cool. She's a good
but
character.
and
Very well done.
I like the idea of her being like 5'10" and muscled because but like hourglass figure muscled. Because if I'm going to put her with a 6'4", like 250-pound guy,
Hmm.
she needs to look like she can hold her own against him if they like beating the shit out of each other, you know?
Yeah. Oh, Brittany was like, "Do you have your map?" We don't.
Um,
There's no map yet.
Actually, in my brain, I kind of know like her kingdom is in the north and or her part of the province is in the north, and then the other one is going to be kind of like south and what is this? East.
East. Like, yeah.
Um, I know that it takes us a 1 week ride to get from the her father's castle to the capital, and I put in a 4 day ride to get from the capital to his castle. But no, I don't have a map yet.
Brittany's right. All the lint. He always has
He always says land.
visible.
But yeah, someday you'll have to be a test reader for me. Brittany, you maybe can be too. And you'll be like, Stephanie, the thumb is too much. You got to knock it out of like half of the scenes. And
It'll be fine.
yeah, so this is my thoughts.
It's all good.
But yeah,
I
I'm
think you
thinking
have writing to do.
I do. But I think book three is going to be, I think she's going to get to know her mother's family in book three, and they're going to help her save the
Figure
day.
all this stuff out.
Yes. While in the siege, are things super monochrome while she's mentally in control versus when she's down and exposed to more color in the capital? Um, it's winter a lot of the time in there, and the prince, when he arrives at her castle, does bitch about how gray and gross everything is. So yeah,
It's always a bright, colorful capital. I mean, that's like
yeah.
the point. It's a city.
Mhm. But but yeah. So anyway, that's my thoughts.
Just a few little things that she's been working on.
Just a few. 90
Just a little
pages
dabble.
of Stephanie losing her damn mind and ruining her
90 pages of
marriage.
outline, not even the stuff you've written.
Well, there's a lot of dialogue in there. Because to me, it kind of goes together.
Well, you know what
Yeah,
you have a lot of places to elaborate, but like
yeah.
I can imagine a lot of that's still bullet point.
Oh no. I sent it to you today. You can have some fun with
Well,
it.
I know about that.
You got
I
to read
mean,
chapter 21.
you are my
With
special friend.
yes. Oh, you can say it. I'm the designated hoe friend is what that's the
So there
joke
was
between
this
us.
meme that was
It's hilarious.
like if you're getting married and you don't know what's going on or whatever, you got to get yourself a designated hoe friend because your hoe friend's going to know what's going on. If you don't understand something, your hoe friend's going to be there for you. And we both grew up in these like very conservative
Yeah, very
homes and stuff like
conservative,
that.
really. Yeah.
And I was like, you're my hoe friend. And she's like, I can't be your hoe friend. Like, I grew up in a, conservative home or whatever. And then she's like making me read these books. And I'm like, no, you're my designated hoe friend.
Yeah. Well,
Like, you're literally writing this stuff. You are my hoe friend.
we've been married a long time.
We
We've
have.
had babies. We know how the birds and the bees work.
Mm-hmm. So,
Uh,
anyways,
all
just
right,
for,
Brittany. When I'm
lack of a better
ready,
friend.
I might send just like an outline and be like, does this make sense to any of you? Do you feel like you're missing things? Like,
It's going to be
but
good.
yeah,
I can't wait to see, like, oh, I think that art on the cover of a book, that's like when a book is done. I can't
yeah,
wait to see what that will be. Or a title
yeah.
for that matter.
Oh, I don't even have that at all. Not one bit.
Not even close.
I
We
just am
finally
in.
have some names
I just am
a
in
year
love.
later.
I'm in love with Kenrick and Lena right now. I just want them
I'm
to
okay with that.
succeed. I want them to succeed. But I keep putting in things where they like,
Don't succeed. Yeah.
yeah, well, they're having trouble getting to that point. But because she won't
See,
really
no
be
wonder you
honest
want to
with him.
spend all your time in your own world. It's just so much more fun.
It is more fun. It is more
Like,
fun.
are they going to succeed? I don't know. And it's like literally up to you if they do.
Well, they will, but like you can't let it just like go off with this lovely little story with no trouble because that's not how life is, you know.
Although a lot of the books I read, I mean, they had trouble, but to be able to wrap up in 300 pages,
Yeah.
it can't be a lot of trouble.
Mostly I like putting trouble right before a very pivotal moment that pulls them like way together.
That's fair.
Like if I'm gonna have a really big moment, they're gonna have a really big fight beforehand.
That's
So that way
fair.
it makes the moment like even more
So it's a
powerful.
big makeup. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You have
so
writing to do.
they had a big fight right before this. But you're trying to wrap me up. We can wrap me up.
I
I can talk
am.
about
I
this for
am
hours.
because I'm starting to get tired and I'm afraid you're going to give too many details and you're going to be sad.
I know, but I love them.
I
I
know
love them
you're
so much.
characters right now. The thing
Oh
is that
goodness.
it's not a book that we get to just talk about yet, you know.
No, it's not. I can't give this away. I want it to actually be a thing someday in the world. But alrighty,
I don't have to wrap you up. I could just go
you
get a
don't.
burrito upstairs or something and
You
keep
could.
going for forever.
I'm
But
sure.
my tummy is hungry.
All right.
I had a pancake for dinner.
Yeah, you should
Just
probably eat
one.
something. And I'm gonna go wrap up my good scene. My lovey-dovey scene. I literally
Go
sent
finish it.
her. No, I gotta say one more thing, and that's hilarious. So I sent her a
Yeah.
screenshot of like a line that was like at the very beginning, and then a line that's at the end when they're like at the very beginning of kind of liking each other, and then like when they're declaring their love and they kind of like come
Hmm.
together. And then the very next thing goes, chapter whatever, sexy time. Like, because I hadn't written it yet, but I just knew like that was gonna be it. That was like my equivalent of chapter
Yeah.
55.
Yeah. You were. You're like chapter, what was it? Chapter 33, my version of
Yes,
chapter 55.
pretty much. But anyway, I've written that scene now. But anyway,
Get that soon.
all right. I will talk to y'all next week. Maybe we'll be on
Bye,
topic. Who
everybody.